Chapter-461 The Power of Physical Magic. Tsunade disappeared, causing the people around him to be shocked. Jiraiya secretly said, "Oops," and was about to leave, but stopped, because Tsunade did not join the melee between Hongguang and Uchiha Yokoyama as he thought, but appeared on the other side of the battlefield. Danzo, Sarutobi Lake Biwa, Kaharu Udatane, and Homura Mitokado stood in a straight line, watching the situation on the battlefield, and behind them were more than a dozen powerful guards, as well as terrifying roots. Call. Tsunade appears next to Danzo out of thin air. Danzo was taken aback. Tsunade gave him a very dangerous feeling, but when he saw who was coming, he relaxed again. He understood that Tsunade didn't dare to mess around. If he was here alone, he would really. It's hard to say, but with Sarutobi Lake Biwa, Kaharu Udatane and others, Tsunade naturally couldn't be looking for trouble. Anything. Danzo squinted at Tsunade, his voice cold. Lord Danzo, since today's matter has been decided, I think, can you remove the barrier first? Tsunade said with a blank expression. Of course not. Why? What if Hongguang ran away? Who can control his Hiraishin? Tsunade was speechless. In fact, she wanted to argue loudly with Danzo, but that would have no effect. It would only delay time, and Han's time is running out. Call. Tsunade disappeared out of thin air again. No one knew where she went, because she didn't appear around the battlefield anymore, but she wouldn't run too far. After all, there was an enchantment, and no one went out. Humph. Danzo snorted coldly, not thinking about Tsunade's whereabouts, and turned his eyes back to the battlefield. After a while, at the southwest edge of the barrier, under the high wall, the lush forest, Tsunade appeared out of thin air, and then he catapulted up, jumped 100 meters, directly to the platform at the top of the high wall, and landed lightly. Tsunade took a deep breath, and walked slowly to the middle of the platform. One step forward, then you can leave the barrier, but this barrier is not allowed to enter. Unless you have the strength of Sarutobi Hiruzen, it is impossible to destroy this barrier. Han, you must persevere. Tsunade looked at the barrier that looked very thin but almost absolutely defensive, thinking in her heart. The next moment, her whole body erupted with terrifying chakra fluctuations. If there was any real investigation, Carrot almost made her glow. Yeah! Tsunade screamed sharply, bowed and stepped back, raising his fists. At this moment, everyone in the enchantment felt the terrifying chakra fluctuations, and all turned to look. Even Lu Han and Uchiha Hengshin, who were fighting, stopped and jumped on the trees to look into the distance. Not good. Damn, why is she so impulsive? Orochimaru and Jiraiya screamed and disappeared at the same time. Stop, you can't break the barrier. Danzo's furious shout resounded for several kilometers. He didn't expect Tsunade to dare so desperately. If there is substantial chakra fluctuation, it is clearly that she is overdrawing her potential. This punch will not break the enchantment, and the force of the shock is enough to kill her. Danzo naturally didn't want Tsunade to die. He couldn't explain it to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Boom. Tsunade naturally ignored Danzo. This punch hit the barrier wall with incomparable ferocity, followed by a deafening roar and an inaudible cracking sound. Tsunade breaks the barrier. But it broke a little, to be precise, a hole that could be fixed at any time. And Tsunade had already rushed out of the hole with the power of the punch that broke the barrier. After a second, the hole was repaired. Danzo is already stunned. Is this the power of Taiju's strange power? Tsunade does not have the power to shatter the barrier. Her strength is far worse than Sarutobi Hiruzen, but she has the power of taijutsu and a large amount of chakra. The blow of the power of taijutsu is like a physical attack. Can form a piercing effect. However, even so, Tsunade paid a very heavy price for it. Beyond the barrier, under the high wall, Tsunade seemed to be completely out of control. He fell from a height, and he didn't know how many tree branches he broke. He finally adjusted his body when he was 10 meters from the ground. PFF'd. With both hands on the ground, Tsunade couldn't contain the injury in his body, and a mouthful of blood splattered on the ground. Han, you must wait for me to come back alive. Tsunade thought silently in her heart. She was seriously injured and should have healed herself immediately, but she forced herself to stand up, staggered forward a few steps, and then started to run, rushing into a denser forest. She's going to find someone who can stop this fight. Tsunade just disappeared into the darkness of the forest. Above the high wall, Jiraiya and Orochimaru appeared out of thin air. Of course they were inside the enchantment, and because the gap in the enchantment was closed, they were not able to hit the enchantment like Tsunade did. Ho! What is she going to do? Find someone. Jiraiya and Orochimaru looked out from afar with ugly expressions on their faces. Inside the barrier, after Tsunade broke away from the barrier, Luhan and Uchiha Henshin fought together again. Luhan didn't know what Tsunade was going to do, let alone that Tsunade was seriously injured. He didn't have time to think so much. Uchiha Henshin didn't give him a chance at all. The battle with Uchiha Henshin was more difficult than Luhan thought, but he still felt that he would win the battle. After all, Uchiha Henshin was not capable of killing him, and if he compared the amount of chakra, it was obvious that Luhan, who was able to take drugs, had no match. Way to compare. Although Uchiha Yokoyama had Susanoo's trump card, it was useless, but Luhan didn't use Hiraishin's technique to play tricks on him. There's really no reason to lose this battle. After a few minutes, Luhan, whose vitality had been extremely weakened, suddenly disappeared in front of Uchiha Henshin, disappeared without a trace, and completely left the battlefield, but he must still be in the barrier. Uchiha Henshin glanced around intently, and after a few seconds, Luhan appeared in Uchiha. Not far behind Henshin, quickly hand seal. Futon, wind style, trapped roll ascension. Luhan used ninjutsu for the first time, which was the ultimate move of Futon, wind style, S rank. Uchiha Henshin's reaction was far beyond Luhan's expectations. After the moment of encountering the crisis of death, a dazzling silver light lit up on Uchiha Henshin's body. Susanoo. Chapter 0462-Rampage Susanoo. Uchiha Yokoyama's use of Susanoo is more straightforward than Luhan imagined. This is Uchiha Yokoyama's biggest hole card. Susanoo is indeed very powerful, but the crazy consumption of chakra and the damage to Mangekyo Sharingan are big problems. If it is not necessary, Uchiha Yokoyama doesn't need to use Susanoo at all. Turned it on directly when he was attacked by Luhan's first S-level forbidden technique. A pair of Mangekyo spun frantically in his eyes, and a silver-gray light shot up into the sky and quickly condensed into an energy giant. Susanoo was 48 meters high, equivalent to the height of a 16-story building, and the terrifying coercion instantly enveloped the audience. Boom, boom. The terrifying wind Uzumaki like a tornado bombarded Susanoo, and then it rushed into the sky as if it had encountered force majeure. In fact, this is the attack characteristic of the ascension to the sky. After hitting the target, it will take the target to the sky. However, Susanoo is too big, and its defense is even more terrifying. With the power of ascension, it is impossible to shake Susanoo. The ascension of sleepy volume is not a pure attribute attack or physical attack, so in a certain way, a Susanoo that is big enough can just restrain the ascension of sleepy volume. For comparison, the LV1S level Futon, wind style, forbidden technique is not as easy as the A-level forbidden technique Rasengan of LV9 level. Of course, one is long-range attack and the other is close combat. It cannot be so simple analogy. This is Susanoo. It actually resisted the attack of the S-level forbidden technique. Really? How is this? It's scary. Exclamation bursts. Not only the Hyuga clan, but even many Uchiha ninjas showed their jaw dropped. After all, most Uchiha ninjas have never seen Susanoo of Uchiha Yokoyama, and Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Yokoyama is the first in the turbulent period after the end of the World War. The ninja world has been peaceful since then. Susanoo, it has not been used for a long time. This guy, use it now, save me the trouble. At the edge of the open space, Luhan gasped violently, looking at Uchiha Henshin from afar. Inside the silver-gray Susanoo, Uchiha Yokoyama maintained the hand seal action and stared at Luhan. He was supposed to launch a stormy attack on Luhan, but he frowned at this moment, as if he had encountered something inexplicable. It is indeed difficult to understand. Uchiha Henshin felt that his vitality had been extremely weak and had consumed a lot of chakra's cold light. At this moment, his vitality had rebounded. What was even more strange was that after he performed the S-level forbidden technique again, the chakra's breath became more majestic. Considering that the cold light disappeared for a few seconds before, I don't know where it went. Could it be, he has a way to restore vitality and chakra? What kind of shady means? Uchiha Yokoyama frowned, unable to figure it out, and immediately sneered again, what does it matter? He's going to die anyway. The huge Susanoo moved abruptly. It didn't seem to be moving fast. In fact, it was because it was too big. A random step is tens of meters. Ordinary people can run 7 or 8 steps or even 10 steps per second when they run wild. Susanoo's the speed of action is naturally much faster than that of ordinary people. In other words, every second, Susanoo of Uchiha Yokoyama can leave his attack anywhere within a few hundred meters. Boom, 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 boom. The violent attack that Uchiha Yokoyama started, the pure physical attack of Susanoo's defense is too good. Because of this, every part of Susanoo's body can be used as a weapon for hitting. Luhan was dodging frantically, jumping and flickering. Susanoo's attack was really fast, but because Susanoo itself was too big, the attack trajectory was too easy to catch, so although Luhan looked a little embarrassed, it wasn't dangerous. At this time, Luhan had to admit that if there was no Hiraishin technique, he would definitely lose this battle. After all, except for Hiraishin, his other telekinesis techniques were restricted. However, Uchiha Yokoyama would have died without Mangekyo. It doesn't make any sense to think about it. The berserk giant was swaying his own attack recklessly, and the scope of the battlefield expanded accordingly. Everyone watching the battle was retreating, and some simply retreated directly to the wall. After all, Susanoo is so big that the blind can't see it. Uchiha Yokoyama, are you mentally ill? How does Susanoo use it? After Susanoo's violent attack continued for a few minutes, Han Guang's cursed voice resounded through the battlefield. He seemed to be in a hurry, but in fact, of course it's a calculation. What's the point of swinging a fist and kicking a leg? You should make it bigger. How to quickly consume chakra without magnifying the move. Without consuming chakra quickly, how can Luhan win? Yes, Luhan is ready for a war of attrition. With his current attack limit, it is unrealistic to break Susanoo. LV9 Ultimate Rasengan can only explode a mountain, and Susanoo is stronger than a mountain made of rocks in terms of size and defense. As you wish. Uchiha Henshin's heavy voice resounded through the battlefield. He stopped the violent physical attack on Luhan, and quickly hand seal. Kaden Fire Style Dragon Flame Release Song Jutsu. 5 fire dragons attacked furiously. Fuck! Luhan scolded secretly, and immediately walked away from the battlefield. Comparison: the Dragon Flame Release Song Jutsu released by Uchiha Yokoyama is completely incomparable with Uchiha Madara. From every angle, Uchiha Yokoyama is much worse than Uchiha Madara, but this does not hinder the power of Dragon Flame Release Song Jutsu. Although Dragon Flame Release Song Jutsu is an A-level ninjutsu, Susanoo will form an extremely terrifying blessing on its power. In Susanoo state, any technique that Uchiha Yokoyama releases will have extraordinary power. Luhan appeared in a 1-kilometer forest, and when he looked back, it had become a sea of fire. Hey, come again. Let me see how many chakras you have available. Luhan grinned, muttered, and disappeared in place. At the same time, on the high wall in the southeast, 3 figures appeared out of thin air. Stop all of them! An old and vigorous shout resounded through the barrier. Chapter-461-480 Uchiha Yokoyama's heart sank, and he knew. Tsunade had left the barrier and was looking for help. The rescuer who can stop this battle. Uchiha Yokoyama naturally didn't want Hongguang to leave here alive, so he used Susanoo very simply. Want to fight quickly. But didn't do it. And now, Tsunade's rescue has arrived. Still a character that everyone will be scruples again. On the high wall in the southeast, the pale Tsunade breathed a sigh of relief. Beside her was an unusually sturdy ninja, about 50 years old, with a giant dog by her side. She was the commander of the Konoha garrison army. Inuzuka Tears. As a strong older generation of Konoha, Inuzuka is of high rank, stronger than anyone on the scene, and dominates the garrison. He wants to stop today's battle. As long as he wants to do it, he can still do it. It was still the open space. Uchiha Yokoyama saw that he couldn't do anything, so he scattered Susanoo and stood with his hands behind his back. Luhan immediately appeared not far away. The ninjas who had retreated earlier also gathered quickly and gathered around the open space again. Tsunade returned and went directly to Jiraiya and Orochimaru, while Inuzuka Tears went to Danzo, Sarutobi Bawako and others. It's really bad luck. Killing someone is so unpleasant. Luhan held the knife for a while, and felt a little depressed, but he couldn't blame anyone. He could see that Tsunade was seriously injured, and he obviously forcibly broke the barrier and paid for it. Luhan was still very distressed despite the cost. Lord Tears. Lord Tears. Seeing Inuzuka's tears come, whether it is Sarutobi Lake Biwa or Kaharu Udatane, they are all very respectful. Only Danzo is not like this. He is Hokage's assistant, and at this time, he is acting as Hokage's position, so there is no reason to respect Inuzuka's tears. Lord Danzo, this. Inuzuka's face was solemn with tears. Let's go over there and talk. Danzo raised his hand and pointed, and the two walked side by side into the woods behind, followed by a giant dog. The other side. How are you? Why work so hard? How's the injury? A group of talented ninjas from the younger generation of Konoha surrounded Tsunade and asked about Tsunade's injuries with concern. It was enough to ask. Naturally, there was no need for others to check, because Tsunade was a medical ninja, and no one could know her more about her injuries. Need our help? Jiraiya asked, saying that the help was naturally to cooperate with Tsunade to heal her. Jiraiya asked, apparently thinking that Tsunade's injuries were too severe to govern. No, Tsunade shook his head, raised his eyes to look at the battlefield, his voice was low, and he felt weak. Wait for the cold, let's get out of here together. Would you like me to bring someone here? Orochimaru asked coldly. Tsunade immediately gave Orochimaru a sideways glance and shook his head slightly. Orochimaru has a way to quickly relieve Tsunade's injuries, but at the cost of human life. The whispers between Inuzuka's tears and Danzo didn't last long. The two walked out of the forest one after another, and went first to Danzo, who was beside Sarutobi Lake Biwa, and said loudly, "Go on. Today's affairs are still ended by a decisive battle between you. No, there will be changes." What? What? There were several exclamations all around. Tsunade's face changed dramatically. He turned his head to look in disbelief, but saw a figure flashing beside her, and Inuzuka was already standing beside her. It's an order. I can't disobey the order. Inuzuka tearfully said this, then walked away, and appeared next to Danzo and the others. Order. Maybe. As Hokage's assistant, Danzo is acting as Hokage's assistant at this time, and he has full authority over Konoha. He does have the right to directly order Inuzuka Tears. However, Tsunade is very clear that Inuzuka Tears are not pedantic people. As long as he stands in the right position, even if he disobeys Danzo's orders, Sarutobi Hiruzen will not be held accountable when he returns. So apparently it was Danzo who convinced him. The so-called order is just a pretext. Tsunade was trembling with anger, the corners of her mouth were trembling, and she couldn't say a word. She thought she could stop all this, but it had the opposite effect. Not only did she fail to stop Hengwang and Uchiha Yokoyama's decisive battle, she also gave Danzo greater confidence. Since Inuzuka can be persuaded by Danzo, it is obvious that he is on Danzo's side. With him, no one will be able to stop this battle of life and death. It is useless for Tsunade to find anyone. Inuzuka holds the garrison in tears. Personal strength is stronger than everyone present, unless Sarutobi Hiruzen can come back. Otherwise, no one in this Konoha can make him change his decision. PFF'd. With anger, Tsunade couldn't hold back the blood spurting out of his mouth. Tsunade. Don't hold on, heal your wounds. Jiraiya and Orochimaru no longer asked Tsunade for advice, and pulled her directly into the woods behind, followed by those young genius ninjas. Fight again. Luhan didn't intend to stop, Uchiha Yokoyama naturally did too. Susanoo reappeared. This battle is longer than everyone imagined. From dusk to night, the war was still useless. The two fought furiously for several hours. The tenacity of the cold light made people tremble again and again. The terrifying forbidden technique that burns life. Hongguang can copy the dead man's ninjutsu. He has killed too many people, no one knows how many techniques he has mastered. At night, the moonlight is dim. All the ninjas watching the battle have retreated to the surrounding walls of the barrier. The forest inside the barrier has long been wiped out. The entire barrier is the battlefield, and all the trees have been destroyed. This stems from Uchiha Yokoyama's tactics when it first fell into the night. If it wasn't for him zooming in everywhere, the trees in the enchantment would not have been cleaned so cleanly. He did this, of course, to restrain Hiraishin's technique. Luhan always relied on Hiraishin to avoid fatal blows at critical moments, and stayed far away, but because of the trees, Uchiha Henshin couldn't spot Luhan immediately. Han fled to where, so he destroyed all the cover. Click. A sudden cracking sound made everyone look up, and a crack appeared in the huge energy cover covering a radius of 3 kilometers. Boom. The barrier shattered. If Hongguang dares to leave here, take him down. Danzo immediately instructed Inuzuka, who was beside him with tears. Chapter 0463 Death of Uchiha Yokoyama. The enchantment was broken, and only the huge round wall with a height of 100 meters still existed. The shattering of the barrier was naturally not due to external forces, but because it had existed for a long enough time. The 81 ninjas who cooperated with Danzo to maintain the barrier were all special existences with a higher chakra volume than ninjas of the same level. Chakra has bottomed out. The shattering of the barrier was beyond Danzo's expectations, because he never thought that the cold light could last so long. Now there is no enchantment to limit Hengguang's Hiraishin technique. In fact, Danzo really hopes that Hengguang can escape from here. The battle on the battlefield is still going on, and it has not stopped because the barrier is broken. Of course Luhan will not run. He must kill Uchiha Henshin today, because today he has paid too much price, being known as copying ability, being suspected of possessing the means to restore chakra and vitality. His strength is completely exposed, and Tsunade was also seriously injured by today's incident. Uchiha Yokoyama must die. Although he has already won the first kill of a level 60 bronze boss, the achievement rewards he obtained before have an extraordinary special explosion rate, so as long as he kills Uchiha Yokoyama, he will definitely get rich rewards. The high walls around the battlefield were full of fire, and many ninjas were holding torches. Among the hundreds of ninjas, most of them could not see the specific situation on the battlefield. Although Susanoo was very big, it was dark. The stalemate battle continues. Uchiha Yokoyama's attack is extremely domineering and has little skill. After all, Susanoo is so big, it is difficult to use his skills, while Hengguang relies a lot on skills. In the face of Susanoo, who can't be broken at all, he avoids most of the time, and sometimes go around behind Uchiha Yokoyama to attack, sometimes burrowing underground and hiding. Normally, Uchiha Yokoyama has an overwhelming advantage, at least it looks like this, but in fact, the senior ninjas present can see that Uchiha Yokoyama's strength is not stronger than Hengguang. Hengguang relies on Hiraishin, and he why not rely on Susanoo? Susanoo has been knocked over by the shining ball of light countless times. If it wasn't for Susanoo's perverted defense, Uchiha Yokoyama would have died long ago. An hour has passed. The night was thicker, the dark clouds covered the full moon, and the battlefield was dark, and the light flickered from time to time. Damn it! How can he have so many chakras? He was seriously injured before. Uchiha Yokoyama growled in his heart. At first, he thought he would win. 2 hours ago, he started to get irritable, but now, he was a little apprehensive. His eyes were already aching. Maintaining Susanoo for a long time caused damage to his Mangekyo Sharingan. It was a permanent damage, although after a day of rest, his eyes would no longer be sore, but the damage would not go away. Of course this is not the point, although Mangekyo, if you use it too much, you will be blind, but it will not last for a few hours. Point is, he's running out of chakra. His Susanoo has become unstable, and maybe it will shatter after 2 more S-rank ninjutsu attacks. Uchiha Yokoyama was very tired, but he didn't notice any fatigue in Han Guang. ... Is it finally going to fail? Susanoo. It really opened my eyes. Lu Han sneered. He despised Uchiha Henshin's fighting style. The turtle shell and the wood were really annoying, and Ren Lu Han was so different means, if you can't break Susanoo, you can only fight the war of attrition. Fortunately, Lu Han can afford it. It's time to end all this. Lu Han's violent shouts suddenly resounded for several kilometers. Some ninjas with amazing eyesight saw at this moment that the sickle in Han Guang's hand disappeared, and a great sword appeared in his hand. Astonishing blade. Be careful. Danzo's face changed dramatically and he roared. But it's too late. A terrifying thunderball appeared in front of Lu Han and shot out. The target was too big, and Lu Han was not far from Uchiha Henshin, so there was absolutely no reason to miss it. Boom. Jinghong Peerless hit on Susanoo, directly blasting the huge Susanoo out. Uchiha Henshinguchi donated blood. Chakra was consumed frantically, but it was still difficult to maintain Susanoo. Whoa! Susanoo shatters in the air. Uchiha Henshin crossed an arc in the air, bombarding the ground hundreds of meters away like a cannonball, and rolled for tens of meters before stopping, covered in blood and extremely miserable. But not dead. The big Yuhi point on the insight map is still there. Really tenacious. Lu Han muttered and disappeared. Patriarch! Patriarch! Exclamations rang out from the 4 high walls. Some senior Uchiha ninjas rushed into the battlefield. They moved, and so did Anbu. Save people! Danzo snorted quickly. Inuzuka burst into tears, then disappeared onto the wall. Lu Han was less than 100 meters away from Uchiha Henshin. A figure suddenly appeared in front of him, and a terrifying aura rose along with it, as if to suppress him. At this moment, the big Yuhi name on the insight map was changed to Inuzuka Tears. Konoha Garrison Army Commander 60 White Silver Boss, Inuzuka Tears. Cold light. Enough, Inuzuka said solemnly with tears. When will it be your turn to take care of me? Lu Han really didn't give any face at all. Inuzuka's tearful behavior made him extremely disgusted. At this time, he came to save Uchiha Yokoyama. Why did he go earlier? Lu Han believed that if it was him who was about to be killed, Inuzuka would never care. Laugh, laugh, laugh. A flick of Lu Han's arm, more than 100 Hiraishin kunai shot in all directions, and Lu Han disappeared immediately. Inuzuka burst into tears in tears. He didn't expect that Han Guang would dare not listen to his advice. He never thought such a thing would happen, so he didn't bring his psychic beast with him. The giant dog is still on the wall. Without the dog, Inuzuka couldn't exert his full strength at all. After 2 flashes, Lu Han appeared in front of Uchiha Henshin, flipped his wrist, and stabbed down. A twist. Puff. The sword of astonishment stabbed into Uchiha Yokoyama's heart and shattered it. Whoa! Dozens of falling objects rushed up with the golden light. Uchiha Yokoyama, die. Chapter 0464 The God of Subversion will soon appear. In fact, Lu Han had already confirmed that Uchiha Henshin was dead, and it was impossible for him to drop anything if he didn't die, but he seemed to be worried that Uchiha Henshin was not completely dead. Immediately after opening his mouth, he spit out flames, burning Uchiha Yokoyama's body to ashes. Hangguang. Luhan heard a suppressed anger behind him, and there was a hint of trembling in that voice, obviously angry to ultimate. Luhan turned around and looked at Inuzuka with tears in his eyes, and said lightly, "Is there a problem?" "I said enough. You should stop." Inuzuka bit Kiba tearfully. "How old are you? Remember, the only people who can order me are Lord Hokage and Captain Whitefang." Luhan sprayed Inuzuka with tears, and the impression of Inuzuka's tears on him was really bad. "Oh. Do you remember? Who came for you? What did you do? Since you won't stop this duel, you should accept the result of the duel." "It's funny, I want to come. If it was me who was just about to be killed, you certainly wouldn't stop it, huh?" Inuzuka was speechless, just stared at Luhan, clenched his fists, and the terrifying pressure rushed towards Luhan. Luhan was very calm. He won. He didn't believe that Inuzuka dared to do it. Although Inuzuka's tears are strong, he is not afraid of Luhan's reckless actions. If he does this directly against Anbu's deputy captain, he will definitely be beaten by Anbu's ninjas, and may even cause a melee. Inuzuka's tears are not justifiable and can't bear responsibility. "Call." First Anbu ninja reached Luhan's side. "Call, call, call, call." More and more Anbu ninjas appeared behind Luhan, all of them looking like they were ready to fight. They didn't care who Inuzuka tears were. If Inuzuka tears dared to do something, they dared to work hard. At the same time, the Uchiha ninja has arrived, and the Hyuga ninja has also arrived. Patriarch. The Patriarch he. The angry voices came one after another, but no Uchiha ninja dared to attack Luhan. Anbu came first, and Hyuga ninja also arrived. Whoever made a move would cause a melee. A short time, hundreds of ninjas gathered around the place where Uchiha Yokoyama died. The giant dog also appeared beside Inuzuka tears, Hyuga Huyang, Danzo, Tsunade, Sarutobi Bawako. All came over. Uchiha Henshin has been burned to ashes. Many people are silent about this. Some people are still immersed in shock. How did Hangguang win? Hangguang, you are so cruel. You have already won, and you even burned the body. Danzo also wanted to trouble Luhan. I'm an Anbu ninja, and I'm used to destroying corpses and destroying traces. It's easy to do it. Luhan glanced at Danzo, and immediately raised his voice again. According to the previous agreement, today's affairs are over, and the rest will wait for Lord Hokage. Come back and deal with it again, don't look for trouble. Anbu obeys orders. In. Let's go back. Yes. Luhan took out the mask and put it on his face. Finally, he glanced at Inuzuka's tears, who was mad with rage but couldn't do anything. With a wave of his hand, he took 70 or 80 Anbu ninjas and walked away. This farce, which can be called the high-level civil unrest in Konoha, finally came to an end after Luhan led the people away. Killed the contemporary patriarch of the Uchiha tribe, just left in front of everyone's eyes. No one dared to stop Anbu from leaving. After all, as agreed before, Hokage's assistant, Hokage's wife, 2 high-level advisors, Hyuga's patriarch, the commander of the garrison army. So many important people are here to witness the decisive battle agreement. No one dares to go back on it. If Inuzuka tears saved Uchiha Yokoyama, then everything would be okay. Danzo can say things like, "You already won, you have to be spared and go around people, wait for Hokage-sama to come back and deal with it, and protect Uchiha Yokoyama." When he got up, Luhan couldn't kill him anymore. Can be useless if Uchiha Yokoyama is dead, irreparable. No one can find Hangguang trouble because of this. Anbu Station, Cave Square. Uchiha, the second team leader of Anbu, codenamed Wanfang, was walking back and forth in the square anxiously. 4 or 5 hours had passed. He still didn't know what was going on outside. He was assigned to stay at Anbu and could not leave without permission. Have a look. A noisy voice sounded from the entrance and exit, and Uchiha Baiyi raised his head sharply. The blood-stained Lu Han walked at the front, and walked out of the passage with 70 or 80 Anbu ninjas. Uchiha Baiyi dodged to Lu Han's side, opened his mouth, but couldn't speak. He was shocked. If the murderous aura on Captain Hangguang was real, the bloody aura that lingered made Uchiha Baiyi understand that Captain Hangguang had just experienced a tragic battle. In addition to Lu Han himself, a small number of Anbu ninjas were also injured. Some of them were seriously injured and could not even walk on their own. They needed someone to support them. More importantly, there were fewer people, and some people didn't come back. Okay, imagine, is dead. This, Captain. Let's arrange for someone to heal first. I'll go back first. Don't disturb me if you have nothing to do. Lu Han raised his hand to interrupt Uchiha Baiyi's question, turned around and disappeared. Uchiha Baiyi was stunned for a while, and immediately called to arrange for Anbu medical ninja to come over. He didn't notice that many Anbu ninjas who had just returned looked at him strangely. Back in the room, Lu Han couldn't wait to walk to the stone wall. He didn't even think about taking a shower. He just sat down with his knees crossed. This is the drop from killing Uchiha Yokoyama. Not the first kill. But there is an extraordinary special explosion rate with achievement rewards, so. Heaven and earth, the god of subversion will appear soon. Lu Han said for a while, but there is no god of subversion. He was just because he was too excited. Dozens of dropped objects. Lu Han quickly glanced, not stopping on the S-rank scroll, nor on the rare weapon, until he saw a scroll with intricate and fresh yuhi patterns. Pick it up with your hands, and take a look. A line appeared on the scroll, Mangekyo of Sharingan Kekkei Genkai. Mangekyo, ha 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 ha, Mangekyo, ha 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 ha. Lu Han held the scroll tightly and couldn't help laughing. Chapter 0465 Mr. Tsunade, you are so beautiful. Lu Han has long imagined how to get Mangekyo Sharingan. If he can get it through exchange. At present, the exchange item for Mangekyo has not been unlocked in the subversive space. I think there is, but the price is probably scary high. There are so many treasures, it will definitely be more useful to exchange other abilities, but the potential is not as good as Mangekyo. And if you don't take the exchange route, you can only kill and drop. The ninja world at this time, there are too few ninjas used as Mangekyo Sharingan. More importantly, even if Lu Han kills all 10 ninjas with Mangekyo Sharingan, it may not necessarily drop the Mangekyo Sharingan upgrade scroll. Probability question. Therefore, if Lu Han wanted to obtain Mangekyo Sharingan, he had to rely more on luck. Obviously, Lu Han's luck has gone against the sky. Time is also fate. When Lu Han had an extraordinary special explosion rate, Uchiha Hengshin took the initiative to run up to give people his head. All I can say is, this guy is too bad. Mangekyo, I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know what abilities the left and right eyes will get. Lu Han couldn't wait. Dong dong. Just when Lu Han was about to open the scroll, there was a knock on the door, followed by Tsunade's voice outside the door. Han, are you inside? It's Tsunade. There was a sense of weakness and a hint of unease in his voice. Call. Lu Han immediately waved his hand, and put all the dropped items in the Mangekyo scroll into the space backpack, and then stood up. Lu Han had long expected that Tsunade would come, but he didn't expect it to come so quickly. Opened the door, I saw Tsunade's pale and haggard face, and there were sporadic dried blood on the front of his clothes. Tsunade not only vomited blood once, although he had been treated afterwards, but the symptoms were not cured, and Tsunade fought his life to break the barrier the injuries caused cannot be cured in just a few hours. After all, she has not yet mastered the creative regeneration and 100 Heroes technique, and it does not take long to cultivate the Yin seal. Tsunade teacher. Lu Han took Tsunade into his arms without waiting for Tsunade to say anything. Tsunade didn't struggle and leaned on Lu Han's shoulder. For some reason, Lu Han felt that he was about to part with life and death. Weird. After a long time, Lu Han pulled Tsunade into the door and closed the door. Han, will you leave Konoha? Tsunade's first question made Lu Han a little confused. Of course not, why should I leave? But, why are you trying to control Danzo? Well, it's a bit complicated to explain. When Lord Hokage returns, I will give a detailed report. You're sure Lord Hokage he will believe you? Of course. You're too optimistic. You don't understand the relationship between the teacher and Danzo at all. Cough cough. Tsunade got a little excited, and then coughed violently, his face turned pale. Let's not talk about this. Lu Hanlian took Tsunade's hand and walked to the wooden couch. I'll help you heal. Although it hurts, even you can't control the injury, dragging it will only make the situation worse. No, your injury is worse than mine, let me see. If there is no bone damage, I can. Bang. With a muffled sound, Tsunade's voice stopped abruptly. Lu Han knocked her unconscious. Under normal circumstances, Tsunade would not be easily knocked out, but she was injured too badly, and she was completely unprepared for Lu Han. It's so long-winded, Lu Han muttered, hugging Tsunade and jumping onto the wooden couch. Tsunade was like a puppet, and Lu Han made him sit cross-legged. Lu Han sat cross-legged behind Tsunade, his left hand was fighting a knife, slashed his right wrist, blood spurted out, swirled under Lu Han's control, pulled into a line, and then bent into a line, finally forming a floating miniature Matsuri altar, which looks like a cage made of Yuhi-colored lines. Pain transfer blood Matsuri. From the technique of evil words, it is one of the many evil Matsuri rituals of the evil gods. In short, it is to transfer the pain that the target can feel to another target. Lu Han immediately took out a few more big Yuhi bottles and drank it to completely heal his injuries. In the previous battle with Uchiha Henshin, Lu Han took the big Yuhi bottle and the big blue bottle many times, and initially hid in the woods after taking medicine. He hid in the ground because the trees were all destroyed. But Lu Han never fully healed his injuries, which would obviously lead to more suspicion. Two balls of light lit up from Lu Han's hands, and seemed to press on Tsunade's back slowly and quickly. In an instant, Lu Han sweated like rain. All the pain caused by the technique of creating Yuan was transferred to Lu Han, who really wanted to die. 3 hours later, it was late at night. Tsunade slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were confused at first, and then he suddenly sat up on the wooden couch. In the empty room, the lights were dim, but Lu Han was nowhere to be seen. Tsunade seemed to have found something. He folded his hands and closed his eyes. What did he do? Tsunade whispered in a trembling voice. The injury had healed, but she couldn't imagine how Han did it. She opened her eyes and called out loudly, Han. Come on, wake up. Lu Han appeared in the room out of thin air with a smile on his white face. Before Tsunade could ask a question, he took the initiative to say, I just went to take a shower, it's really comfortable. Lu Han had already changed into gray casual clothes, with clogs on his feet and no weapons. Compared with the previous, Anbu Vice Captain Han Guang, he was more like a bright and cheerful boy at this time. What did you do to me? How did you? You forgot about my master, a technique that can heal almost any injury. Isn't that painful? Why didn't I feel it? Well, it's a bit complicated to explain, it's irrelevant, right? Call. Tsunade moved suddenly, dodged in front of Lu Han, and grabbed Lu Han's wrist involuntarily. Let me see. Some inspection, Tsunade did not find any injuries on Lu Han. But Tsunade's eyes were even more sad. Not all injuries can be easily detected, such as loss of life, such as loss of talent, or the dedication of the soul Matsuri. Mr. Tsunade, you are so beautiful. Lu Han tried to change the subject with a full smile. Tsunade stared at Lu Han, suddenly leaned over and kissed Lu Han's lips. Chapter-461-480 This is a mistake. Dizziness. Lu Han hadn't felt this way for a long time. Happiness came so suddenly. Lu Han didn't know what Tsunade's heart was like at this time. After all, a woman's heart is a kind of metaphysics. But Tsunade didn't give Lu Han a chance to act. The soft feeling receded. Tonbo kissed like water. Tsunade's eyes were so serious, with sadness that Lu Han couldn't understand at all. Why are you so stupid? Tsunade-sensei, I don't think now is a good time to chat. Lu Han took a step forward and couldn't help but hug Tsunade tightly in his arms. His probe occupied the softness that he wanted to say. Tsunade struggled a little, trying to push Lu Han away, what he wanted to say. In fact, if she persisted, Lu Han will definitely let her go. Lu Han is not a person who is good at using force, but Tsunade didn't insist. When the jade-like arm climbed up Lu Han's neck, when the slightly trembling palm caressed the back of Lu Han's head. With black hair, Lu Han's last sanity was swallowed up. In fact, Lu Han felt that 2 Yuhi candles should be lit at this moment, and then set off a firecracker outside the door, but he couldn't get away to do it. This night, the woman who was thrown on the soft couch looked extra weak. It's been a long time since I came to this world. For Lu Han, there are not many things that can be called true satisfaction. For now, Lu Han has never experienced such a thing, even if everything happened last night. Remember, the ancients of a certain planet once said that a moment in spring is worth 1,000 gold. Lu Han really wanted to find this ancient person, throw 10 million taels in his face, and then shout, "Extra time." Comparatively speaking, another ancient talent was a kind person, and Lu Han had a deep understanding of the so-called spring night is too short. It's a new day, I don't know what time it will be. Lu Han woke up from his sleep, looked at the woman in his arms, smiled slightly, and kissed the tears that had dried up under the corner of his eyes. Tsunade woke up. She seemed to have dreamed something terrible, her body tensed subconsciously, and she only relaxed when Lu Han's palm stroked her back twice. It was a mistake. This was Tsunade's first sentence, not as sweet as Lu Han thought. I have already demolished the south wall, so I won't break my head. Lu Han smiled. Tsunade was speechless, pushed Lu Han's arm away, lifted the blanket and got up. Under the reflection of the ever-bright light, Lu Han's eyes were full of softness. From this point of view, Tsunade was a perfect woman, although her collarbone was a perfect woman. The blue-purple color is a bit damaging to the beauty. Because of this, Lu Han can still remember the back pain from last night, but thinking about it, the small wound that was scratched by the woman's fingertips should have healed by itself. Tsunade got dressed first, and then Lu Han, who was watching the dressing show, got up lazily from the soft couch, and got dressed with Tsunade's help as if he was paralyzed. Of course Lu Han was not disabled, it was only one night, so he couldn't. He just likes how Tsunade looks like a new wife changing her husband's clothes. Tsunade always looked preoccupied, even if Lu Han offered a parting kiss, she did not respond as shyly as Lu Han thought. Han, I don't want us to be enemies. At the door, Tsunade, who had already opened the door, said without looking back. Don't think about it, although I've heard that girls always get bigger brains after they become women, and even become depressed because of it, but I know you shouldn't be. Lu Han stopped talking halfway through, because Tsunade has disappeared in front of the door. What's wrong? Lu Han restrained his smile and frowned. His heart was not as easy as it appeared. What Tsunade was thinking, Lu Han has not guessed until now. But he didn't show his thoughts, he couldn't be both bitter and hated, that day would never end. The country of Tang, located in the northeast of the country of fire, its only ninja village, Tang Nin Village, was once known as a fighting ninja village, but in the First Ninja War, a large number of ninjas were killed and injured in Tang Nin Village, and the lack of backbone resulted in there are faults in the inheritance of ninja, and the strength of Tang Nin Village has gradually weakened. Because of its strategy of not fighting with outsiders, it has been implemented for more than 10 years. Therefore, Tang Nin Village has won the name of Ninja Village that Forgets War. Sakura Valley, a famous tourist destination in the country of Yuno, Sakura on Izumi attracts a large number of tourists every year, including some advanced ninjas. At this time, Sakura Valley has been reduced to ruins. 100 miles in red. The rich fire attribute chakra pervades this land shrouded in smoke clouds, tens of meters of earth fissures, broken mountain peaks, dried up when Izumi baths, burned up vegetation. All this shows that there was a battle that was beyond the imagination of advanced ninjas. This war has not been known for how long, and it is still going on. Boom, 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 boom. The chakra fluctuations that seemed to tear apart time and space brought up the billowing smoke and dust that covered the sky and the sun. The turbulent flames hit the ground, and the lava surged like Izumi. If an ordinary person is here, then he will understand what the end is. Two figures. The two people who are only fast or only shadows, sometimes fighting in close quarters, sometimes chasing and fleeing, sometimes ninjutsu counterattacks. The tragic confrontation, the earth shakes again and again, and the flames that are set off from time to time distort the time and space, and the mountains are the size of the mountains. The boulders whistled in the wind. Tweet, tweet, tweet. A rapid chirping sounded from the sky, and a black bird with flames all over its body whistled. The two fighting men stopped at almost the same time, retreated, retreated, and retreated again. They didn't stop until they were 200 meters apart. It was obvious that the two were very afraid of each other. These two. Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third generation of Konoha village, the land of fire. Reikage I, the third generation of Kumogakure village in the land of thunder. The two have been fighting for 2 days and 2 nights, and it is still useless to decide the winner. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen has blood on the corner of his mouth, and I has a strange black complexion. It is not far from breaking the defense. Once the defense is broken, he will not be Sarutobi Hiruzen's opponent. Of course, whether Sarutobi Hiruzen can persevere until he breaks his defense is hard to say. Call. The black bird swooped down, the flames subsided, and landed on Sarutobi Hiruzen's shoulder, bowed his head and spat out a pocket scroll. Sarutobi Hiruzen opened the scroll and looked, his expression changed. Chapter-461-480 The Lord of the Magic Rings. Black Fire Eagle, a high-level psychic beast, with a very common name and a very ordinary appearance, but a terrifying ability. This is a non-combat psychic beast. It's rushing. At the end of the First Ninja World War, the wild Black Fire Eagles have disappeared, and the Black Fire Eagles that still exist in this world are all held by the big forces. Konoha has only one Black Fire Eagle. This Black Fire Eagle there are 2 indentured masters, and Sarutobi Hiruzen himself is one of them. Using the Black Fire Eagle to transmit information is a big deal. It is indeed a big deal. Konoha civil unrest. This is what the intelligence said. The civil strife happened a day ago. Although it has been temporarily subsided, it has left hidden dangers that are difficult to eliminate, because the Uchiha clan leader died in the civil strife, and died in the hands of Anbu Deputy Captain Han Guang. Who would use the word, civil strife, to accurately describe the farce the day before was not someone from Anbu, nor Danzo, Sarutobi Lake Biwa. If they were to write this information, they would definitely be biased. Another contract owner of the Black Fire Eagle, Inuzuka Tears. Inuzuka Lei is definitely a character who can let Sarutobi Hiruzen trust Konoha to his care. In terms of strength, wisdom, vision, and experience, he is impeccable. Although his temper is not very good, Sarutobi Hiruzen is relieved by the overall situation. Information is from Inuzuka's Tears. He wrote the information in more detail about yesterday's situation. Of course, he wrote it from his own perspective. In his writing, Danzo, Hangguang, Sarutobi Bawako, Kaharu Udatane, Hyuga Tiger Young, Tsunade wait, everyone has been reprimanded. A bunch of disrespectful guys. A group of guys who reckon with their own power and their power will act recklessly. Bunch of assholes. Yes, Sarutobi Lake Biwa was scolded, and in private, Sarutobi Hiruzen had to call Inuzuka a tearful uncle, and Sarutobi Biwa Lake was nothing. Shit. Die. Sarutobi Hiruzen saw the information and almost bit Kiba almost to pieces. flames rose from his hands, burning the scroll to ashes. It seems that we can only fight another day. Ai's voice rolled in from a distance. I knew that if Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted to leave, he would not be able to stay with his own strength. From the expression on Sarutobi Hiruzen's face, it could be seen that something had happened. According to the agreement, you did not defeat me. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up at Ai. Retreat. I'll consider it, I said blankly. Humph. Sarutobi Hiruzen snorted coldly and disappeared in place. Gone. Scary guy, I murmured and disappeared. Konoha Village, Anbu Station. Luhan sat cross-legged in front of the stone wall and collected a lot of dropped items, some of them were used up. He has already completed the harvest inventory of yesterday's battle, and killed a total of 50 people, including 12 idle Uchiha ninjas, Uchiha Patriarch 33 members of the guard, 5 from the base, received a total of 788 drops. Kill 50 people, only to get less than 800 drops. On average, kill each person to get a dozen pieces. It can only be said that the explosion rate is very general. Counting so many dropped objects is not a huge workload, because most of them are garbage. There are still some uses, but they are not very useful except for 91 ingots, which really made Luhan interested. After careful calculation, there are more than 30 pieces. 14 types of A-rank ninjutsu, 3 types of S-rank ninjutsu, 1 rare weapon, 1 big Yuhi bottle of treasure and 1 big blue bottle of treasure, 1 magic ring of achievement, 9 bottles of spiritual potion, 1 super golden potion bottle. 3 S-level techniques, 2 were from Uchiha Yokoyama, and the other was from an unexpected enemy, Luhan the Root Ninja. In terms of the strength of the Root Ninja killed by Luhan, he should not drop an S-level skill, but the Root Ninja is pervert, and it is not surprising that the master has one or even multiple S-level skills. As for the explosion rate of non-first kills, the explosion rate is a probability. Even if there is only a 1% drop probability, it is possible to drop. Otherwise, the probability is meaningless. What should be used? What should be received? 14 A-rank ninjutsu are used, including Majestic Destroyer Flame, Great Fire Annihilation and Great Fire Destruction scrolls. 3 S-level techniques. Luhan only left a pure attack-shaped S-level Kaden, Fire Style, Forbidden Technique, Kaden, Fire Style, Longyan Jinchuriki, Column, and the other 2 were all recovered. To get 130 ingots, the rare Lava Blade. It was the rare weapon that exploded from the Uchiha Henshin. Luhan also chose to recover it and obtained 75 ingots. The Magic Ring of Achievement and the Super Golden Elixir are all things that Luhan had never obtained before. The former was obtained as an achievement reward, while the latter was dropped by Uchiha Henshin, and the effect was 20 times the effect of cultivation, which lasted for 3 days. Ring of 10,000 Techniques. This is the first time that Luhan has obtained a non-weapon ninja gear. The achievement reward will always give something special. The effect is also extremely powerful, and it cannot be obtained through exchange at all. The effect of the Ring of 10,000 Arts is definitely powerful. First of all, it has absolute defensive properties and will not be damaged by external factors. Of course, a small ring cannot be used as a shield, and absolute defense is useless. The real effect is that a spell can be stored, and the user can release the spell stored in it at any time through the ring, which can be used repeatedly. That is to say, Luhan can store the Majestic Destroyer Flame, Great Fire Annihilation in the Lord of 10,000 Techniques ring and release it at any time, or store Rashomon, Rasengan, and even the terrifying S-level Futon, Wind Style Forbidden Technique. The technique of cutting flowers and rain can also be saved. Only one can be saved at a time, and there is no limit to letting go and saving again. This is equivalent to instant high-level ninjutsu, which is terrible. However, the use of the Ring of 10,000 Techniques is not without any freedom. First of all, it is very troublesome to store the spells in it. The more advanced the spells are, the more troublesome. Second, the user needs to consume mental power, which is the mental energy used to extract chakra. If it is to release an S-level technique, a person with strong mental power will become dizzy with one use, and a person with ordinary mental power will pass out after one use. Sudden death may be possible. The ones that should be used have been used up, and the others have already been put away. Luhan finally put the jet black ring on his left middle finger. As only one thing left on the ground, the Mangekyo scroll. It's really exciting, Luhan muttered, picked up the scroll, and opened it. Chapter 0469 _ The Shift of Heaven and Earth and the Tides of Time and Space. It hurts so much. 3. Tomo Sharingan is promoted to Mangekyo Sharingan, and there is a feeling of being stabbed in the eyes. This is very strange. After all, it is promoted with scrolls. This kind of pain does not make any sense. Even if Lu Hantong faints, it will not affect Sharingan's promotion. Luhan didn't know why, and he didn't need to know, he just had to endure it. I don't know how long it took. The pain gradually disappeared. Luhan slowly opened his eyes, and blinked again. The soreness subsided. Luhan felt that his sight had improved, but that's all. He without any Sharingan abilities activated, nothing magical will happen. Secret technique. Luhan made a simple seal, and with a wave of his hand, a huge mirror appeared on the stone wall, very clean and bright. It's so strange, how come it looks like 8 trigrams? Luhan was a little surprised. In his eyes, even if he was sitting on the futon, he could see the pores on his face clearly through the mirror. The shape is clearly visible. 8 trigrams. In the middle is the Tai Chi yin-yang fish, and the outer ring of the yin-yang fish is a regular octagon with a ring and a ring. Counting the innermost ring, there are 4 rings in total. The 8 kakuzu of the 4 octagons correspond to each other. The black lines run through and connect. These aren't really 8 trigrams, just like the ability of my left eye. Luhan raised his hand and lightly covered his left eye, because it was Mangekyo obtained through the scroll. He already knew what ability he had acquired when he was promoted, but it was too painful before. I have to recall it. Left eye. The world moves. It's a pity that such a domineering name is. Chenkin Shift. The ultimate pupil technique with a rebound attack effect can theoretically rebound all attacks, but the higher the rebound attack strength, the more chakra the caster consumes, and the deeper the damage to the eyes. It was an attack on the rebound pupil technique. The rebound effect with no upper limit sounded crazy, but in fact Luhan was a little bit painful. What should I do if I was blind? What should I do if I'm blind? This reminds Luhan of Tsukuyomi. The Tsukuyomi launched by Uchiha Itachi can kill Kakashi in an instant. But for a genius like Uchiha Itachi, launching Tsukuyomi once is also very expensive. But in any case, this technique is still very practical. As long as you don't die and bounce back attacks like Tailed Beast Bomb, there should be no danger of being blinded instantly. Of course, with Luhan's current chakra volume, it doesn't show up either. Gotta bounce Tailed Beast Bomb. Right eye. Luhan raised his hand to hold his right eye again, then jumped up in shock, exclaimed, "Control the time." No, not controlling time, but in some ways, it's more terrifying than controlling time. Time and space tide. Time and space tide. The ultimate pupil technique with the effect of making the target grow, or reverse growth, which can act on non-living targets. The consumption and damage depend on the strength of the target. The literal explanation of the time-space tide is very brief and difficult for people to understand, but Luhan directly obtained the effect of the time-space tide in his consciousness, so there is no problem of understanding. The so-called growth and reverse growth. In a nutshell, growth is: if Luhan initiates a time-space tide on a 60-year-old ninja, he can directly speed up the opponent's growth rate, and can make a 60-year-old ninja grow in a very short period of time. Ninjas become 70, 80, 90 years old, or even die of old age. Reverse growth, on the other hand, can make the other party young. It is not impossible to change from an old man to a child. Correspondingly, the goal is equivalent to returning to the state of the past, and the strength will also return. Past state. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen is powerful and terrifying, but if he is turned into a 5-year-old state, Luhan can kill him with his eyes closed. Of course, since Sarutobi Hiruzen is too powerful, Lu Han couldn't use the tide of time and space to turn him into a child. But that doesn't prevent this technique from being very pervert. Because Lu Han thought of a very special target. Will miracles happen if this spell is used on that particular target? Genie, can you answer my question about the tides of time? Yes, but only in terms of effects. What I'm asking is the effect. If I use this technique on the dead, and the time goes back, will the dead come back to life? Yes, but Subversive 3665 will pay a heavy price for this. In extreme cases, Subversive 3665 may die and fail to resurrect. The so-called extreme case is one who has been dead for too long, or who is too powerful in his life. Understood. Lu Han nodded. In the end, it's still a matter of chakra. If chakra is exhausted, he will die. If Sarutobi Hiruzen has just died in battle, Lu Han wants Sarutobi Hiruzen to return to the state of a minute ago, which is probably impossible. You can't even run out of chakra. If I say that the tide of time and space is used on a badly wounded enemy, then after the target is caught in the tide of time and space, its physical state will not be affected by what has not happened. That is to say, the severely injured enemy should be treated after 1 minute, but the thing after 1 minute has not happened, so when it is caught in time and space, after the tide, it will only continue to grow towards the existing state, its lifespan will increase accordingly, and its injury will recover or deteriorate according to its physical state. Healing will be accelerated, and conversely, the injury will worsen. And you may die from it. Okay, that's enough. Ha ha ha. Lu Han laughed and said excitedly, according to this logic, if it is one of my own and is injured, if I let it grow in reverse, can I restore it to its normal state? Injured state. Yes. Okay. Ha 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 ha. After a while, Lu Han calmed down. By the way, if it's used on a non-living target, forget it, let me do an experiment. Said that Lu Han sat back on the futon, flipped his wrist, and took out a kunai from the space backpack. The very low-quality kunai is not a drop, but one of the spoils of war plundered from the enemy. It is the kunai created by this world. Staring at kunai, Lu Han's right eye glared slightly. Mangekyo began to spin, accelerate, faster and faster. Chapter 0470_backtracking. The kunwu that Lu Han chose has two characteristics. The first is crude. That is to say, it is a very low-level weapon, and the second is new. Very new. You must know that even if this kind of crude kunai is not used in combat, it is only assembled on the body. As long as it takes a long time, there will be old traces, and rust is inevitable. And this kunai is very new, which means that this is a kunai that has not been cast for a long time, and it may have been cast within half a year. Tides of time and space, backtracking. Lu Han controlled the Mangekyo to rotate rapidly, and in a trance, the space around the inferior kuwu was slightly distorted, and then it shattered into slag with a bang. Not metal slag, but iron ore slag. Lu Han immediately stopped the tide of time and space. 6 months and 18 days ago, this kunai was still crushed ore. Lu Han muttered, blinking his right eye lightly. He didn't feel any discomfort, and he didn't consume much chakra. The inferior kunai is naturally made of metal, and the metal is extracted from the ore, so the inferior kunai grows and turns into its original appearance, which naturally becomes ore slag. Would you like to pervert some more? Lu Han murmured. The effect of the ability of time and space tide can be described as scary, but it can make life grow in reverse, even items can. What if this is it? Lu Han took out another kunai from his space backpack. It was a fine kunai. It was a drop. It was obtained in yesterday's battle. That is to say, Lu Han got this kunai just now. 15 or 16 hours, and before, this kunai did not exist. Tides of time and space, backtracking. In an instant, the fine kunai disappeared from Lu Han's hands. 15 hours and 32 minutes. Because it didn't exist before, as long as the backtracking time exceeds this limit, it will disappear. The consumption is still not large, mainly because the backtracking time is short. The backtracking time does not seem to be very long. Good control, easy to overuse. Takes practice. Lu Han summed up the experience gained from using time and space tide, and had no intention of continuing. There are also penultimate weapons and rare weapons to try, but Lu Han doesn't want to make penultimate weapons disappear. It's a waste. By the way, can the tide of time and space be used on oneself? For example, when looking in a mirror. Can't. Sure enough. Of course not. Otherwise, Lu Han would be invincible. I don't know what my Susanoo is. It seems that they all find a chance to go out. By the way, thinking, Lu Han turned his wrist again, and there was an extra mass on his hand, still dripping blood. It's a piece of rotten meat. To be precise, it was a mass of rotten flesh scraped from a human head, with some broken bones in it, dripping with blood, and looking disgusting. Lu Han shook his hands, shook off the useless meat, wrapped it with chakra, and took out 2 meatballs from the rotten meat. 2 balls of meat the size of human eyes. It's the eyes. Mangekyo Sharingan in Uchiha Yokoyama. At that time, after Lu Han killed Uchiha Henshin, he grabbed Uchiha Henshin's head as soon as possible. He did not have a necrophilia, and under the cover of the night, no one could see any flaws in his smashing action, so he took Uchiha Henshin away. His eyes were thrown directly into the space backpack. No one else knows about this. The act of burning the corpse later is naturally to cover up all this. When grabbing the eyes, Lu Han used chakra to wrap the control, so that the 2 eyeballs were not deformed and broken due to being squeezed, but were directly thrown into the space backpack. There is no concept of time passing in the space backpack, so these eyeballs are still fresh at the moment and portable. Lu Han took out the transparent glass container from the space backpack again, put 2 eyeballs in it, observed it, and then threw it back into the space backpack. He hasn't figured out what to do with the Mangekyo Sharingan. If the value of these eyes is sold on the black market, the money is still a trivial matter, and I'm afraid it will lead to a bloody storm. Adhering to the principle of maximizing interests, Lu Han will definitely not take this pair of Mangekyo lightly. Dong dong. Captain, Lord Assistant, please go to the command room. With the knock on the door, a respectful voice sounded outside the door. Well, I see, Lu Han replied. Meanwhile, the core area of Konoha village, Tsunade's home. In the spacious hall, the smell of alcohol filled the air, and there were several empty wine bottles on the table. Tsunade leaned back on the chair with a flushed face, and shook the wine bottle in his hand. Jiraiya and Orochimaru sat on the 2 chairs opposite, one was helpless, the other frowned. I said, don't drink. Drinking is not going to solve the problem. Ouch. Tsunade had already punched Jiraiya in the head, and Jiraiya fell directly to the ground, holding her head, looking like a useless punching bag. Noisy. Tsunade wobbled back to his chair. Did I say something wrong? Jiraiya said again. This time he had hid at the door, ready to run away at any time. Han's mistake this time. It is not enough to say that the sin is unforgivable, but you also know that teacher. He is not a person who looks forward to the future. Trying to control the second person in the village is too bad. And he killed Uchiha Yokoyama, as well as a large number of senior ninjas of the Uchiha clan, and took the entire Uchiha clan up and down. All are offended to death. Comparatively speaking, whether Hangwang is more important or Uchiha is more important, I think you should be very clear. If it was a peaceful time, it's okay to say, but now the war has started. I think, in order to take care of the overall situation, the teacher will. The point. Tsunade stared, interrupting Jiraiya's tirade. Jiraiya was right, but all bullshit. The point is, let him go. Jiraiya sighed, let him go, we'll have to deal with the teacher. Maybe, the teacher won't send someone to hunt him down. Just condemn it on the surface and appease Uchiha clan can. Quote. He wouldn't go. I asked him. Tsunade shook the bottle in his hand, his eyes sad. The teacher is coming back soon, and he doesn't seem to think what the teacher will do to him. He doesn't know the teacher at all. Chapter 0471 _ I am sorry. Tsunade was able to open her heart to Lu Han with a very complicated emotion. She didn't know how long Han could stay in Konoha. She remembered what Han had done for herself. She didn't want to know what those secrets were, because that might be the answer she didn't want to see. She doesn't want Han to be her enemy. Tsunade understands that a lot of times, too dazzling is not necessarily a good thing. Then we're spending time here. Jiraiya saw Tsunade lift the bottle again. You're here. Drinking. There will always be a way. If there's no way, just knock him unconscious and throw him somewhere far away. As long as he has a brain, he should understand why I did this. Tsunade said drunkenly. Not dizzy. Jiraiya's head is full of black lines, and Tsunade can't figure it out. Judging from Hengguang's current strength, knocking him out is an impossible task, but depending on Tsunade's current state and the tone of her speech, she might really dare to do this. Anbu Station, Command Room. Except for Uchiha, the losses are still within the acceptable range. Lu Han was sitting behind his desk, holding the battle report that he had sorted out not long ago. It was the battle report of the Haoshin Rebellion yesterday. Among them, the Uchiha tribe died 61 times. 18 people were seriously injured and 60 people were slightly injured, which can be described as heavy losses. Others are not much to lose. A total of 8 people in the Hyuga family were killed, 12 were seriously injured, and 81 were slightly injured. 8 people died, no serious injuries, and 3 minor injuries. Anbu killed 9 people, seriously injured 7 people, and injured 13 people lightly. 4 of them died outside the barrier, that is, they were killed when they were blocked by route to inform him. A total of 88 people died in yesterday's chaos, 43 people were seriously injured, and 157 people were slightly injured. Overall, the losses were heavy. Among the 88 people who died, most of them were high-level ninjas. If it really counts, the responsibility lies with Lu Han, because most of them were killed by others, all of whom were Uchiha ninjas, but it's not the focus of Lu Han's attention, and it's not a matter of glory to die a lot. In comparison, the death and injury data at the root are very eye-catching. A total of 8 people died. If Lu Han remembers correctly, 6 of them were killed by him. In other words, in the large-scale conflict that didn't last long, 2 people died without serious injuries. The case of minor injuries. Actually, this statement does not mean much to ninjas. In statistics, even scratches are considered minor injuries. Jen, it's really scary. If I haven't learned Hiraishin, I might be dead this time. Lu Han muttered, put down the battle report scroll, and picked up the other one on the table, which was just sorted out today. The latest important information. Information 1. From the Konoha Scout Unit, Lord Hokage and the 3rd generation of Ai's Reikage in a decisive battle in the Sakura Valley of the country of Yuno. There was a small-scale civil strife in the Uchiha ethnic area late last night. The conflict lasted for more than 10 minutes and ended. It was suspected that it was suppressed by senior ninjas in the Uchiha ethnic group. Intelligence 3. From the Konoha Independent Scout Force daimyo was assassinated last night. Hyuga Heian personally killed the assassin. The identity of the assassin is unknown and he is suspected of being a black market killer. Hokage actually went to fight. Lu Han was a little surprised, but he didn't expect it, but it made sense, judging from the location where the two fought and Sarutobi Hiruzen's sudden departure from Konoha. Apparently the two made an appointment. Sir, there is one more thing. A hesitant voice suddenly sounded. Huh. Lu Han looked up. Standing in front of the desk is Captain Anbu assisting Sarutobi Yushuin. It is worth mentioning at this moment. He is the son of Sarutobi Lake Biwa. Sir. Sarutobi Yushuin saw Lu Han raised his head, knelt on his knees directly on the ground, lowered his head and said, please allow me to say in my mother's place, I'm sorry. He was in a very bad mood. When Lu Han first entered the command room I found out, but I didn't expect that Sarutobi Yushuin would do this. I won't forgive her, but I won't trouble her either. You shouldn't say sorry for her. After all, I'm not dead. Lu Han said calmly, Get up. This matter is beyond everyone's concern. Control, when Lord Hokage comes back, maybe you should go to him and say something. Lord Hokage is your father, and I think you should know him better than I do. My subordinate understands. Just go out, I think you should talk to someone. Yes. Sarutobi Yushuin got up and left the command room with a lost look. After handling official duties in the command room, Luhan went to the cafeteria. Soon as he entered the cafeteria, the Anbu ninjas who were eating all stood up. Captain! Captain, you are here. Lord Cold Light. A pair of eyes looked at Luhan with burning eyes. In Anbu, no one doubted Han Guang's loyalty to Konoha and Hokage, but after the incident yesterday, they revered Han Guang even more, even a little fanatical. Just like many Konoha ninjas are to Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, it's like a fanatical adoration. Ah, you eat. I suddenly remembered that I have something to do. Luhan turned around and walked out. He finally understood why White Fang rarely ate in the cafeteria. Obviously, if Luhan stayed in the cafeteria for a little longer, the others would not be able to eat for a moment. The afternoon, Luhan first went to the grove not far from the entrance of the Anbu station. The 9 Anbu ninjas who died in the battle yesterday were all buried there. After Matsuri paid respects, Luhan returned to his room in the station and began to retreat. Luhan didn't leave the room until nightfall. Whoa! The door was suddenly pushed open, and Tsunade, who was full of alcohol, staggered into the room and slammed the door shut with his backhand. You drank too much. Luhan raised his head and just said. Tsunade had already pounced on Luhan, pulling away Luhan's shirt. Another unforgettable night. It wasn't until it was almost dawn that Luhan and Tsunade pulled the blankets to embrace each other and fell asleep. The dim light was still on, and the two of them were breathing evenly. After an hour. It's already dawn outside. A figure appeared out of thin air in the cave room. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Chapter 0472_Scandal. Sarutobi Hiruzen is a person who rarely looks surprised, but at this moment, he can't control his emotions. Eyes wide open, the corners of his mouth trembled unnaturally, and his hair floated up. This is obviously not demonic illusion. Sarutobi Hiruzen believes that what he sees is real, but he already has the urge to poke his eyes out. He got news of the civil unrest in Konoha this morning and rushed back to Konoha as quickly as possible. He came back really fast. It took only a dozen hours to go from the land of soup to the village of Konoha in the middle of the land of fire. This is because he was injured and lacked chakra, otherwise he could go faster. Returning to Konoha, he went directly to the Anbu station. Except for the ninjas in Anbu's quarters, no one knew that he had returned. Sarutobi Hiruzen came to Anbu's station, naturally to ask about the situation. Anbu will definitely have a more detailed report, and he naturally intends to ask in person about Han Guang. He entered the Anbu station. He asked if Hengguang was there. The answer was that Captain Hengguang was retreating in the room to heal his injuries. Master Tsunade came at night and never came out. At this time, he should also heal Captain Hengguang in the room. Answer: the Anbu ninja of Sarutobi Hiruzen also mentioned that Tsunade-sama also came the day before, and he also healed Captain Hengguang overnight. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that Hengguang was seriously injured before. Inuzuka's biography of the bird has already written it clearly, and Tsunade is Hengguang's teacher and is very concerned about Hengguang. It is also reasonable to treat injuries. The cold light was very hurt, and Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart was also heavy. He just appeared in Han Guang's room with a heavy heart, and then saw a scene that made him almost collapse. The young genius who had high hopes for him actually rolled with his favorite female apprentice. Is this healing? Is this fucking healing? Beginning to the end, Sarutobi Hiruzen did not show the slightest breath. He had no malice towards Luhan, and was several orders of magnitude stronger than Luhan. Under these conditions, the sleeping Luhan did not feel the slightest abnormality and did not wake up. It was also related to his tiredness. After all, he was doing physical work before going to bed. Huh. Sarutobi Hiruzen let out a slow breath. He kept telling himself that he had to stay calm. Scandal. What a scandal. Huh. At this moment, Luhan seemed to feel something, made a slight nasal sound, opened his eyes in a daze, and tilted his head to look. Eye to eye. Fuck. You immortal voyeur. Don't be afraid of being struck by lightning. Of course Luhan didn't scold him, he just widened his eyes suddenly, and almost jumped up from the slump, but luckily he didn't jump. His first concern was Tsunade. He pulled the blanket and looked back. He couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. It's okay, fortunately, it was covered tightly. Tsunade curled up in Luhan's arms, only his head was exposed outside the blanket. Perhaps because Luhan's movements were a little bigger, Tsunade, who had always had a light sleep, suddenly woke up, opened her eyes in a daze, and muttered, "My head hurts." She drank too much alcohol. In this case, the head will always hurt until you sober up. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned his back the moment Tsunade woke up, and he still understood. He knew if Tsunade, who had just woken up and was confused, would sit up directly. Tsunade's voice came to an abrupt end, as if he had stopped breathing. She saw the back of Sarutobi Hiruzen. There was a brief eerie silence in the room. "I'll be waiting for you in the command room." Humph. Sarutobi Hiruzen said indifferently with his back turned, sounding calm, but the last snort had betrayed his heart. Saying that, Sarutobi Hiruzen took a step forward and disappeared directly into the room. Luhan was still in shock, looking at the place where Sarutobi Hiruzen disappeared, and then at Tsunade's frozen face. The two of them were relatively speechless. The room fell silent again, and after a while, Tsunade's expression softened. "If Hokage raids me, what is my chance of surviving?" Luhan asked. "No chance," Tsunade replied. "Why don't we run away?" "Why run? What are you afraid of? We are adults." "Hey, I don't seem to be. Not a big-headed ghost. It's all your fault. You know I'm drunk and don't stop me. Go get dressed." Tsunade kicked Luhan from the soft collapse. Tsunade, who were neatly dressed, came to the command room. Sarutobi Hiruzen was already looking at the information, which was a summary of the battle the day before yesterday. Since Sarutobi Yushuin did not return to Anbu on time today, the one who was busy beside Sarutobi Hiruzen was Hyuga Burnin, codenamed Bailey. Sarutobi Hiruzen hadn't personally seen intelligence in the Anbu command room for many years, and this time the stakes were high, and he couldn't wait. The information summary of the rebellion in the back mountain hesitated to record too much content, which has been compiled into a book, a very thick book, not a scroll. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned when he first watched it for half a year. It wasn't that the intelligence was worse than he thought, but that he saw a clear tendency in this summary of the situation. This is a summary of situations that lacks neutrality. In other words, this summary of the situation puts all the blame on Danzo, Sarutobi Lake Biwa, and Uchiha Yokoyama, and some of the words are even subjective assumptions and lack sufficient evidence to support them. It is worth mentioning that in this summary of the situation, the part written by Han Guang is the most neutral, often using words such as, suspected how, and, maybe. Instead, it is Hyuga Bonin and other Anbu senior ninjas who are not neutral. From this point, Sarutobi Hiruzen saw Hengguang's dominance over Anbu. There are some things that he can't say in person, but the people below will take the initiative to say it. Of course, at present Sarutobi Hiruzen can't judge whether those tendentious records come from Han Guang's behest. Luhan and Tsunade came to the command room. They stood dryly in front of the desk. After a while, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had read the summary of the situation, raised his hand and motioned for Bonin Hyuga to go out, until Bonin Hyuga left. Just spoke. "Who can tell me what's going on?" Sarutobi Hiruzen patted the table and stood up angrily. "What are you asking about?" Luhan asked mortally. Chapter 0473_A Clear Conscience. What is the question? Sarutobi Hiruzen has just read the summary of the rebellion in the back mountains, so naturally he asked this question. Compared to this, the fact that Han Guang and Tsunade got together is nothing at all. But Lu Han is a very mortal reminder. Sarutobi Hiruzen, _ You still have the face to ask me what's the matter. How many days have I been out? How many days have I been out? You dare to fight anyone who pays attention. You. Sarutobi Hiruzen pointed to Lu Han, unable to make a sound. It seemed it's about to be killed by Lu Han. After all, it's shameful to get together in a master-disciple relationship. We truly love each other. Lu Han showed his shameless virtues, and wrapped his arms around Tsunade's waist. With Sarutobi Hiruzen's murderous gaze and Tsunade's fingernail pinching, Lu Han's hand around Tsunade's waist held for only 2 seconds before letting go. Sarutobi Hiruzen clutched at his heart, gasping for breath. He didn't have a heart attack, but it seemed like he was going to be let out by Lu Hanqi. Teacher, I think this matter can be put on hold for further discussion. Tsunade tried his best to control his emotions. His tone was calm, but his face was slightly yuhi. Although I don't know the details of the incident the day before yesterday, I feel that Han has absolute loyalty to Konoha and you. Please look into it. Humph. Sarutobi Hiruzen snorted in response to what Tsunade said. He was very dissatisfied with Tsunade's unreasonable protection of Han Guang. I don't know what I said. How dare you make a ticket? As the saying goes, girls are outgoing. Sarutobi Hiruzen is very heartache. Taking a deep breath, Sarutobi Hiruzen tried to calm himself down as much as possible, sat back in the chair, and then raised his hand to Tsunade. You go out first, walk away, I don't want to see you in a short time. The apprentice who is reluctant to scold, Sarutobi Hiruzen can only express his inner dissatisfaction with the words, go farther. Teacher retire. Tsunade bowed to Sarutobi Hiruzen, then turned around and strode out without giving Lu Han a single glance. Obviously, keeping a proper distance between the two will help Sarutobi Hiruzen forget about the two getting together. But Tsunade didn't expect Han to die. I'll take Kushina to your place for dinner at noon, remember to prepare more. Lu Han quickly turned his head and said in a low voice. Sarutobi Hiruzen heard these words, and the corners of his mouth trembled unnaturally. Tsunade almost didn't fall at the door when he heard Lu Han's words, but he controlled his body, as if he didn't hear Lu Han's words, and sped up and left the room. It seems that you have a clear conscience, okay. Very good. Sarutobi Hiruzen's tense expression relaxed after Tsunade went out. Therefore, judging from Lu Han's demeanor, he was neither nervous nor worried. What? The arrogance is always. And a little shameless. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen does not like this state, Sarutobi Hiruzen is relieved, at least for now. The thing he is most worried about does not seem to have happened. Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't want to lose the manufacturable talent of Hangguang. Of course, the premise is that Hangguang does not make mistakes. Tell me about the incident the day before yesterday. Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at Lu Han and tapped his fingertips on the table subconsciously. Speaking of which, the cause of this incident is Lord Bawako. During my mission in the black market, I had some unpleasantness with Lord Bawako. Speak. Let me make a long story short. After I arrived at the black market, I did one thing before connecting with Kurovine. I sold information about Konoha Anbu Ninja Hangguang to the black market, and by coincidence, the black market killer who wanted to buy Hangguang information in the black market, I successfully contacted him and dictated some things about Han Guang. Han Guang is Lu Han himself, but Lu Han said it very naturally, as if he was talking about another person. You killed the black market killer who bought your intelligence? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. He really understands Lu Han's style. Also smarter than Sarutobi Lake Biwa. Lu Han didn't say why he wanted to sell his information. Sarutobi Hiruzen had already thought about it, and he felt that there was no problem at all. Han Guang is such a person. Or, he is just so arrogant. Back then, in order to save Tsunade, he entered the crisis-ridden Kurigakure control zone without hesitation, but he was much more arrogant than this. No, that person was too strong, and I regretted it at the time. But in the black market, I can only bite the bullet and talk about the cold light. Well, it's bad, go on. After that, I contacted Hei Tang. After Hei Tang informed me about the situation of the black market, he left the black market, and then there was a fight outside the black market. Including me, a large number of ninjas in the black market went to the forest outside, fighting. The two sides are Kuroto and the black market killer code-named Wuyong. Wuyong is strong enough to kill Kuroto. After thinking about it, I came to the rescue. At a critical moment, I was forced to use the Rashomon technique. It was the Konoha ninja thing that was exposed, and then Wuyong said that it was the Biwa-sama who broke the black vine, which attracted a large number of black market ninjas who wanted to do something to us. Is still no problem with what Lu Han said. Hei Tang is a senior Konoha ninja and Konoha's nail in the black market. It is natural and reasonable for Han Guang to take risks to save her. As for using Rashomon, it must be used in an emergency, otherwise, Han Guang crazy to launch Rashomon in the eyes of a large group of Anbu killers. How did you escape? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked again. Straight to the point, he knew that with Lu Han's strength and Lake Biwa, it would be impossible to defeat a large group of black market killers. The black market is a place where experts gather. I didn't use Hiraishin, because the ninja who bought my information knew that Hengguang would be Hiraishin. Lu Han continued, it was the killer who saved us. He revealed his name and stunned everyone. Oh, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly became interested. He's a Jianyu-style ghost. Lu Han said. Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression froze for a moment, and he blurted out, it's him. Yes, it's him. Hanzo. Huh. Lu Han was shocked. He thought that Sarutobi Hiruzen knew the Jianyu-style ghost, but Sarutobi Hiruzen knew the true identity of the Jianyu-style ghost. Chapter 0474 Sarutobi Hiruzen and Sarutobi Lake Biwa. Is he Hanzo? Hanzo of the Salamander? Lu Han asked while pretending to be extremely shocked. In fact, he just wanted to know how Sarutobi Hiruzen knew the true identity of the Jianyu-style ghost. Yes, the Kenyu-style ghost is Hanzo, Sarutobi Hiruzen said with certainty. Lu Han didn't seem to believe it. Do you remember Zhao Hai? Remember, it was the guy who was good at disguise, who betrayed Konoha more than 10 years ago and was killed by me. Well, after Zhao Hai's betrayal, I naturally want to investigate the reasons for Zhao Hai's betrayal. After a series of investigations, I got an important clue. Before the betrayal, Zhao Hai, once disguised as a black market businessman, entered the black market, and contacted the black market. Kuojianyu-style ghost. The Jianyu-style ghost is too dazzling. There are not many ninjas of this strength in the entire ninja world. In fact, the elimination method can be used to roughly determine his true identity. Of course, the premise is to know that this world stands at the top. Who are those ninjas? Zhao Hai went to the Land of Rain and took refuge in a Megakure village, and together with other evidence, it can be confirmed that the Jianyu-style ghost is Hanzo, and he was the Jianyu-style ghost who bewitched Zhao Hai to betray. But I don't even know how he did it. After saying this, Sarutobi Hiruzen fell silent for a while, tapping his fingers on the table subconsciously, squinting his eyes. It seemed that he was recalling some things he couldn't let go of in the past. Lord Hokage, should I continue? Lu Han said in a low voice. Needless to say, Danzo looked up at Lu Han. Hanzo provoked your relationship with Lake Biwa, right? He saved you as a Jianyu-style ghost because you betrayed Hengguang's information, and he thought you were the Konoha ninja, who has a ghost in his heart, is not loyal to Konoha, saves you in Lake Biwa, and then uses some words to make Lake Biwa suspicious, huh? It's really Hanzo's style. Master is wise. Lu Han immediately said. He really had to admire Sarutobi Hiruzen, who can become a hero of a generation, and it really is not comparable to a woman with a brain like Sarutobi Biwa Lake. Oh, it's my fault. She is too suspicious, so I have argued with her many times, alas. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face turned gloomy, and after a while, he looked at Lu Han and said, aren't you very confused? Why did you go to Lake Biwa? Black market, right? Yes, but now there seems to be an answer. Luhan continued, is it because of Lord Bawako's suspicion? In a black market where all enemies are intriguing, suspicion is a good thing. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded. By the way, sir, there's one more thing, in the black market. The black market S-class killer who tried to kill Bawako-sama, codenamed Wooyoung. His real name is Toyama Crossing. His real identity is Ninja of the Land of Wind. I went out earlier, I saw him during the mission, and the adults should also know my skills of identifying people. I recognized him. After I and Bawako-sama were out of danger, he chased and killed him. I killed him and burned him to ashes, because I said the name Toyama Crossing to Lord Bawako, and Lord Bawako suspected that I was a traitor and acted with him. Although there are traces of the battlefield, because there was no body left, Lord Biwa. Okay, I get it. Sarutobi Hiruzen interrupted Luhan, as if he didn't want to listen anymore. He knew Lake Biwa, knew Hangwang, and knew Hanzo, so he knew what the problem was. Hanzo's provocation and Sarutobi Bawako's suspicion are a perfect match. Let's do this for now. I'll find time to ask you about other situations. Sarutobi Hiruzen said in a gloomy tone. His mood changes were obviously because of Sarutobi Bawako, her wife. Sir, then, Luhan spoke again. Call. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned and disappeared into the room. Fuck, I really don't give you face. Actually, Luhan wanted Sarutobi Hiruzen to see the statistics of ninja casualties in the rebellion of the Back Mountains, but Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't have Luhan's chance, so he just left, thinking about coming. He went to see Sarutobi Biwa Lake. It was early in the morning, and the hustle and bustle of the new day began in Konoha village, which had been silent all night. The shady courtyard, Sarutobi Hiruzen stood under the shade of the tree, slightly looking up at the leaves on the tree, frowning tightly, looking preoccupied, and said nothing for a long time. After an unknown amount of time, the door on the first floor of the wooden building opened not far away, and Sarutobi Yushuin walked out of the house with a worried face, turned around and closed the door, sighed again, and then hand seal disappeared in front of the door. He didn't see Sarutobi Hiruzen until the end. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't want him to see it, so naturally he couldn't see it. After Sarutobi Yushuin left, Sarutobi Hiruzen withdrew his gaze that had been looking at the leaves, raised his hand to straighten his sleeves and plack it. The sad and anxious look on his face gradually subsided, and quickly became majestic and expressionless. He went from a worried husband to a majestic Hokage. To the wooden building, and when he reached the door, Sarutobi Hiruzen kept walking, but the door seemed to be slammed open by some invisible force. Inside the house, the pale and haggard Sarutobi Lake Biwa was sitting on the soft slump, closing his eyes and resting. On the square table beside him, there were a few small butterflies with food, and he didn't seem to have moved. The door was suddenly knocked open, and Sarutobi Bawako suddenly opened his eyes. Sarutobi Hiruzen walked quickly to the front of the soft collapse. Sarutobi Bawako looked very panicked, lifted the blanket over his legs, and rolled and climbed over the wooden collapse, holding the wooden table with his hands before he could stand firm. Sarutobi Hiruzen had already walked over to her in front of him, his right hand is raised high. Sarutobi Bawako closed his eyes tightly. But that slap did not fall. Many people died. Inuzuka Tears has written down the approximate death and injury situation in the Asuka biography. Such a huge loss cannot be solved with a slap, but Sarutobi Hiruzen still can't bear it. Even if he thinks he has adjusted his emotions, he still can't solve this problem. Slap down, because this is his wife. Speak, say what you know and what you think. Sarutobi Hiruzen put down his hand in despair. Thump. Sarutobi Lake Biwa got down on his knees and cried with his head down. It's all my fault. Woo woo. I am willing to be responsible for their deaths. Chapter 0475 Konoha, Light and Dark. Konoha Anbu Station, Cave Room. After Sarutobi Hiruzen left, Luhan returned here and continued to retreat. Yesterday, before Tsunade came, he was indeed in retreat, but it was not retreat to heal his injuries, but retreat to practice. The battle with Uchiha Henshin brought a lot to Luhan, and the fierce battle that lasted for several hours, not to mention Luhan the toughest battle ever, but definitely the longest. Luhan saw his own deficiencies in all aspects. If the speed is faster, the knife is faster, the hand seal speed is faster, and the attack prediction is more accurate. Then think about it, the battle process will be completely different. With Uchiha Yokoyama is worth reminiscing over and over again. Noon. Luhan rarely went to the gate of the ninja school as Hengwang picked up Uzumaki Kushina who had just finished school, and then took Kushina to Tsunade's house. At the same time, in the quaint room, Sarutobi Hiruzen sat facelessly on the wooden floor, sipping tea, indifferent. Not long ago, Sarutobi Bawako explained to him the cause, result and process of what happened. From Sarutobi Bawako's point of view, she still felt that she was righteous and was rooting out traitors for Konoha, but she also admitted that she did it herself. Wrong. She took responsibility for the deaths of dozens of high-ranking ninjas on her own, and offered to accept any punishment. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't say what to do with Sarutobi Bawako, just told her to go back upstairs, and don't come down without his order. It's closed down. Much remains unclear at the moment, and Sarutobi Hiruzen has not ordered any substantial punishment. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen was alone in the hall, waiting for someone. He didn't wait too long. When he picked up the teapot again to refill his cup, a figure appeared across the table out of thin air and sat down without saying a word. When Sarutobi Hiruzen put down the teapot, he picked up the teapot and poured himself a cup of tea. Danzo. I'm disappointed, Sarutobi Hiruzen said lightly, taking a sip of tea. I'm responsible. Danzo looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen. I know I'm going a little too far, but it's not bad for the Uchiha to have such a loss. What did you promise Uchiha Yokoyama? It's done, make the Uchiha clan the #1 clan in Konoha. Give him Senra's Mangekyo, he doesn't know the side effects of Senra's Mangekyo. Uchiha Yokoyama's final battle, did it come from you? Yes. Do you really want to kill Hongguang? Yes. Reason. He's not reliable. I've known it since he first joined Anbu. He's got a problem. I'm even more sure of it when he can reverse the control of the untraceable chain puppet. You are hiding something from me. I don't want to say it. Why don't you know the mother curse mark on your body? I can't do it. I thought that this technique has been developed to the highest stage. Only when it reaches the highest stage can the mother curse be removed. However, the cold light broke the highest stage one created. At present, I can only suppress the influence of the dream on me. Bawako told me that Hengguang had been attacking you all the time, saying that you wanted to usurp the throne. You should trust my loyalty to Konoha. The war has just broken out, the situation is not clear, and I do this, it will not benefit me in Konoha. So you used Uchiha, just to kill with a knife. Kill Hengguang with Uchiha's knife, kill Uchiha with Hengguang's knife. It's understandable, but the situation is beyond my control. I didn't expect Hyuga to be involved in this. Without them, Hengguang would have died, but he relied on the Hiraishin technique enough to kill hundreds of Uchiha ninjas before he died. Quote. You shouldn't be cold, you know I have high hopes for him. I said, he's not reliable. Bawako's inference may be wrong, but I believe in myself. The two of them were drinking tea, talking one sentence at a time, just looking at the picture. The two seemed to be looking at you and saying something ordinary, but in fact, if the words they said today were spread out, it would be enough to cause a stir in Konoha village. Uproar. After some conversation, the room fell into silence. Sarutobi Hiruzen never asked Danzo why he insisted that the cold light was unreliable. The reasons may be very complicated, and even if Sarutobi Hiruzen really asked Danzo, he also understood that what Danzo said might not be completely true. The two have kept Konoha's prosperity on and off, and have worked together for more than 10 years. Danzo is doing all the dirty work, tiring work, and shameful deeds. If Sarutobi Hiruzen is the son of Konoha, then Danzo is the patron saint of Konoha under the Dark Night. Danzo has done a lot of things that can be called anger and resentment, and Sarutobi Hiruzen has never looked into it, because many things have come from his instructions, and some things. There is no other way to do it. It will be a success. For Konoha ninjas, Konoha has today's prosperity, all thanks to the 3 generations of Hokage Sarutobi. In their hearts Sarutobi Hiruzen is omnipotent. He is the greatest Hokage, is a generation of heroes who strategize and conquer thousands of miles. Is perfect. But is there really a perfect person? No. It was Danzo who took all the imperfections for Sarutobi Hiruzen, those mistakes, those accusations. Danzo blocked all the negatives, so Sarutobi Hiruzen was absolutely positive. The same sinful thing that other ninjas in Konoha do, the one who is referred to by the thousands will be Sarutobi Hiruzen, and Sarutobi Hiruzen who has the highest command will be denounced as the executioner. And if it is done by the root ninja, the one who is referred to by the thousands will be Danzo. Because everyone knows that Gen does not obey Sarutobi Hiruzen's orders, only Danzo's orders. This is true. Sarutobi Hiruzen really can't control the root, it's not that he can't, it's that he doesn't want to. Danzo has done many evil things, many of which are not from Sarutobi Hiruzen's instigation, but Sarutobi Hiruzen still lets Danzo do it, as long as Danzo remains loyal to Konoha. You're tired. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had been silent for a long time, put down his teacup. It's time to rest. Danzo laughed at himself. It seems that you still choose to believe him. After saying that, Danzo dodged and disappeared into the room. Chapter 0476 Captain Anbu _ After Danzo left, Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression did not change at all, his eyes did not waver, he picked up the teacup again, paused, and put it down again. The teacup was empty, he was supposed to get the teapot, but he got it wrong. His heart was not as peaceful as it seemed. He still chose to trust Han Guang, but he had to admit that Danzo's words had already affected him. The thoughtful Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly frowned, then his face changed drastically, and he suddenly disappeared on the wooden slump. He smelled blood. Second floor, bedroom. Sarutobi Hiruzen appeared out of thin air on the edge of the soft slump. His face was extremely ugly, and it could even be said that his eyes were splitting. The majestic breath diffused from Sarutobi Hiruzen, and if the real chakra solidified quickly, he seemed to close this space. On the soft slump, Sarutobi Biwa lay quietly on her back, her brows slightly frowned and her eyes closed. In her abdomen, a dagger was inserted vertically. On the handle of the dagger, she was holding Sarutobi Biwa's right hand. Blood is flowing. For the next 3 days, Sarutobi Hiruzen met with Inazuka tears, Hyuga Huyong, Kaharu Udatane, Homura Mitokado, Tsunade, had a long talk with each of them, and went to the Uchiha tribe in person on the second day. At the gathering place, they had a long conversation with several strong men of the older generation of the Uchiha tribe. Blink of an eye, 3 days later, Sarutobi Hiruzen summoned Luhan. It was still an antique room, the incense burner was smoking blue, the teapot was steaming, and Luhan dressed in Anbu sat opposite Sarutobi Hiruzen, pouring tea, drinking tea and talking. Sarutobi Hiruzen already knew all about the situation of the rebellion in the back mountain, but he still asked Luhan about it. After all, many things can only be explained clearly by the parties from the first point of view. Luhan did not prepare any speeches in advance because of the rebellion in the back mountain. He is not responsible at all, he just needs to tell the truth. Of course, he said, the fact that he can see the other party Yuhi's name, observe the abnormality of Danzo, this is what he arranged for Tsunade to win over Hyuga, etc. Starting point and therefore must be stated. After Luhan's remarks, all the details of the Haoshan rebellion became clear in Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart. In this regard, Sarutobi Hiruzen said nothing but sighed, time is also fate. The summary of these 4 words is really accurate. Suspicious Sarutobi Bawako meets the cunning Hanzo. Sarutobi Lake Biwa found Danzo, and Danzo just found out not long ago that he was reversely controlled by the untraceable Lock Mother's curse, and he was killing the cold light. So he came up with a plan to kill with a knife. However, Hengwang discovered the problem in advance and found Hyuga Huyang in advance. Hyuga Huyang listened to Danzo's rebellious words, and he who has always been politically correct, chose to support Hengwang without hesitation. Coincidentally, Uchiha and Hyuga have always been on the tip of the hat, and they started fighting as soon as they met. And the melee was born. Time is also fate. Really? Can you copy the magic of the dead? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. Yes. Lu Han nodded. Well, this ability may cause you trouble, so be careful. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't ask any more. You're still too young. It's not wrong to be young, but after all. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Lu Han and said, perhaps you should have listened to Inuzuka's dissuasion at the time. The death of Uchiha Yokoyama is not good for Konoha. Lord Hokage, do you think I am such a person? Focus on the bigger picture. You're not, but I hope you are. Then I try my best. Hengwang was obviously perfunctory. Sarutobi Hiruzen could hear it, but he didn't have the heart to care about it. It was a battle of life and death after all. If Hengwang let Uchiha Hengshin go, he could praise, extraordinary aura, take care of the overall situation, and kill. Can't say it's wrong. Sarutobi Hiruzen picked up the teacup again, took a sip, and pondered for a while before saying, Lake Biwa committed suicide. What? Lu Han exclaimed. He was really taken aback. Sarutobi Lake Biwa is really a staunch stupid woman. Fortunately, I found it in time and I saved her. She was at fault, and even said that she was guilty of death. But she is my wife after all. Looking to come to Lake Biwa-sama, I made a big mistake because of my confusion. It's not unforgivable, Lu Han said following Sarutobi Hiruzen's words, but he was relieved. Just don't die. Death might lead to some trouble, if someone makes trouble with this. Lu Han doesn't want any more trouble. Now, it seems that Sarutobi Hiruzen is obviously trying to be selfish in dealing with Lake Biwa. He rarely does it, but it doesn't mean he won't do it. It depends on who the target is. Sarutobi Hiruzen in the original book had favoritism for Orochimaru and let go of Orochimaru, who had killed many Konoha ninjas for experimentation. This can be done for Orochimaru, not to mention his wife. Lord Hokage, I have something to report. Lu Han said suddenly. Speak. Hanzo seems to have taken on the task of assassinating daimyo. He bought information on daimyo from me as a Jianyu-style ghost, and I was temporarily held back. I see. Sarutobi Hiruzen squinted slightly, and said after a while, I'll make arrangements. A moment of silence. Lu Han drank tea all the time, while Sarutobi Hiruzen seemed to be thinking about something before speaking after a long time. Your relationship with Tsunade. Let me think about it. It's alright. You go first, I'll go to the Anbu station in the afternoon. Hey, Lord Hokage, you can't beat the Mandarin ducks, right? Fuck off. Okay. This afternoon, a piece of news that surprised most of the Konoha ninjas quickly spread throughout Konoha like the wind. Almost everyone was talking about it and trying to find out the inside story. Hokage assistant Danzo has relapsed due to a hidden illness and needs to retreat to heal his injuries. He is not suitable for any position for the time being. He will resign as Hokage assistant indefinitely. After Danzo resigns, Konoha will temporarily not have Hokage assistant. And just as the news spread throughout Konoha, Sarutobi Hiruzen in the Konoha Anbu station came in person and announced a personnel appointment. Konoha Anbu's Vice Captain Han Guang. Since joining Anbu, he has made many extraordinary achievements and outstanding achievements. Although he is still young, he has the style of a general. So far, Han Guang has been appointed as Anbu's captain and has full control over Anbu. After that, there will be no vice captain. In this position, Anbu's former captain, White Fang, was transferred from Anbu and has another appointment. Open black lens bracket World War II close black lens bracket. Chapter 0477 _ any task will do. Originally, according to Sarutobi Hirazen's plan, he would arrange a duel between Han Guang and White Fang with full malice. At that time, he would personally supervise the battle to prevent unnecessary losses from happening. At that time, regardless of whether Han Guang wins or loses, he will be promoted to Captain Anbu, but the plan is there is always no change, and Sarutobi Hirazen changed his mind due to the chaos in the back mountain a few days ago. From all the reports he got, Han Guang was not responsible for the whole incident. Sarutobi Hirazen still trusts Han Guang, and under this premise, Han Guang is the victim. Although Han Guang's performance is extremely generous, it can even be said to be aloof, let alone scolding anyone, he doesn't seem to be angry. Sarutobi Hirazen does not understand why Han Guang is like this, why he is still so calm after being betrayed by his own people. Why is not important. What is important is that Sarutobi Hirazen felt that compensation for cold light should be given. There is no love and hate for no reason in this world, and no loyalty for no reason. Sarutobi Hirazen didn't want this evil boy who was based on his back to feel cold, and he had to take precautions before it happened. Therefore, on the day he removed Danzo Hokage's assistant position, he directly promoted Han Guang to Captain Anbu. This is a compensation and a warning. Warning to those who want to complain about Danzo, or have ulterior motives for Han Guang. Even if Han Guang kills Uchiha Yokoyama and makes the already unstable Uchiha clan even more unstable, he is still my hardcore confidant. It was on this day that Lu Han came into contact with all of Anbu's secrets, including the nameless ninja list of Squadron Zero, the highest authority of Anbu's treasure house, the highest authority to view historical information, and the storage place of all forbidden techniques in Konoha. Wait, everything Captain Anbu knows about Akatsuki's secrets. Time flies, in the blink of an eye. 7 days later. Lu Han has been in retreat for the past 7 days, and the direction of improvement involves speed, reaction awareness, combat strategy, clue reasoning, etc. Every other day, he will go to Tsunade at night. The matter between him and Tsunade, except Sarutobi Hirazen, has not yet been others know. This evening at dusk. Anbu Station, Command Room. Ha 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 ha, you kid, you are getting more and more shameless. How long has it been? The thickness of your face is so good. It's easy to talk, then my proposal. Of course not. I don't belong to Anbu anymore, and I can't interfere in Anbu's daily work. Don't always think about being lazy, kid. I'm not being lazy, it's just that my injury hasn't healed yet. You know, what happened in the mountains about 10 days ago, Okay, you don't have to pretend to be pitiful with me, you can't deceive me. Okay. Lu Han looked helpless behind the desk, and rolled his eyes. Sitting on the chair in front of the desk was a young ninja in his 20s. He was White Fang. He came back to Konoha this afternoon, first went to report to Sarutobi Hirazen about the situation in the country of the Vortex, and then came to Anbu. He is no longer an Anbu ninja, but as the previous Anbu captain, he has the right to enter and leave Anbu at will, which every ninja who has ever served as a captain in Anbu has. White Fang came to Anbu to formally hand over to Han Guang. Lu Han took the opportunity to make an extremely shameless request to White Fang, hoping that White Fang would have time to come to Anbu to help with daily affairs, but of course White Fang decisively refused. Lu Han really doesn't like sitting in the office. He was just a few days before he became captain of Anbu. Very excited, and then very annoying. As a lazy leader, Lu Han hates the piles of information that are higher than people. Even if it is just to open the information and glance at it, sign it. Anbu has gradually given Lu Han a feeling of a cage. Anbu's ordinary ninjas need to perform daily tasks and often go out for a walk. In order to maintain their dual identities, some Anbu ninjas can still move freely as their own identity, while Anbu's captains can't. His identities are extremely weakened, even if he does not show up in Konoha village for a few months. As Anbu captain, in this war period, most of the time he needs to stay behind Anbu. Lu Han felt a little regretful. It doesn't seem so comfortable to be the captain of Anbu in a desperate effort. After White Fang and Lu Han completed the handover, they chatted with Lu Han for a while, then said goodbye and left. Lu Han had to bite Kiba's teeth and bury his head in processing the documents again. White Fang wasn't so busy when he was captain, because for most of his time as captain, the ninja world was relatively peaceful. At this time, White Fang has a new identity, and Sarutobi Hiruzen has appointed him as the commander of the S-Unit. The so-called S-Unit is the S-level independent task force. It is a high-level ninja unit temporarily established for the Ninja World War. As the Ninja War is in full swing, more and more S-level missions appear. The team members are all independent mission ninjas directly under Hokage. The geniuses of the younger generation of Konoha have been wiped out, and Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru are also members of the S division. Comparatively speaking, after White Fang left Anbu to serve as S-Corps captain, it was considered a demotion, because his rank was not as high as that of Anbu captain, but from another point of view, White Fang's power was stronger. The overall combat power of the S-class is much higher than that of Anbu, and of course, it is limited to combat power. White Fang's identity will gradually change from darkness to light. In this regard, Lu Han can only express envy, jealousy and hate. I can't wait to change identities with White Fang immediately, and often go out to perform tasks, which is much more interesting than sitting in the office often. Time flies, and 10 days pass in the blink of an eye. At noon that day, an order finally rescued Lu Han from the office. Hokage summons. Hokage building, spacious and bright office. When Lu Han entered the door, Inuzuka was just walking towards the door. It seemed that he had just finished talking with Sarutobi Hiruzen. The two passed by, without any verbal communication, just looked at each other. Inuzuka's teary eyes were not very friendly. Lord Hokage. Lu Han walked to the desk. There is an outing mission. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up. Okay. Lu Han nodded hastily. I haven't said yet. It's okay, any task. Just let me get out of that damn office. You seem very excited. Yes. Chapter 0478_young man, I am optimistic about you. Lu Han was really excited. I think Sarutobi Hiruzen will not arrange a quest to die, but as long as it is not a quest to die, such as assassinating Hanzo, everything else can be said. This mission is very dangerous. You can listen to it first, think about it first. It's not necessarily you want to do it, I just want to hear your opinion. Sarutobi Hiruzen said seriously. What he just said was, there is an outing mission. Did not say who this task was for. Don't worry, Lord Hokage, leave it to me. Guaranteed to complete the task. Lu Han said while beating his chest. Are you too tired? It's so abnormal. Do you want to go back to rest first? No need. Hokage-sama, I'm fine, let's talk about the task, I can't wait. You really don't need to. No need. Okay, I appreciate your aggressive look, young man, I'm optimistic about you. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled, looking very relieved, but gave Lu Han a very bad sense of language. Lord Hokage, can I take back what I said before? Lu Han became cautious. Late. Lord Hokage, is it really okay for you to trick me like that? Stop talking nonsense, you took over the task directly, I didn't force you. Okay, then, what exactly is the mission? Lu Han's tone was already cautious. Lu Han had a premonition that this mission would be extremely bad after all. I hope it wasn't a mission of betraying one's color to obtain information. The black market manager released the news in advance, and the market will reopen in 10 days. To the black market. It's okay. Lu Han breathed a sigh of relief. According to what you said last time, when the black market opens this time, Hanzo will definitely appear as a Jianyu-style ghost. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Lu Han and said, Your mission is to connect with him and try to connect him. The time to assassinate daimyo will be extended by at least a month. You should understand that Hanzo is not a person who obeys the rules. You go to provide him with some information about daimyo this time. After he gets the information, he will probably kill you. This task is extremely important. Dangerous. It is extremely difficult for Hanzo to change the timing of the assassination of daimyo. Now I will ask you again, are you sure you want to take this mission? It's really dangerous. Luhan thought about it for a while, and immediately had an idea in his heart. However, it seems I have two plans. In fact, I don't want you to face Hanzo. It's very dangerous, so you can skip this mission. Sarutobi Hiruzen interrupted Luhan. If you don't accept this mission, because Hanzo has already, I have communicated with you that your status in the black market is irreplaceable, and this mission will be cancelled. After that, I will connect the daimyo to Konoha village to ensure his safety. However, doing so will make the daimyo control the outside world. If it weakens, someone will definitely take this opportunity to make trouble, and it is conservatively estimated that there will be hundreds of millions of tales of loss. Quote. Yes, I'll take this mission. Luhan immediately said. He analyzed that although the mission is very dangerous, as long as you can deceive Hanzo, all problems will be solved easily. Yeah, good. You didn't disappoint me. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled again, and immediately withdrew the smile, and said casually, right. The location of the market opening this time has been confirmed, and it is in the land of rain. Silence. There was an eerie silence in the office. Luhan stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen with wide eyes. He never imagined that Sarutobi Hiruzen's routine was so deep. To be so shameless to push his confidant into the fire pit. The land of rain is already the focus of the entire ninja world at this time. It is a small country, but it carries most of the slaughter in the ninja world. Konoha, Omegakure, Sunagakure, Iwagakure, tens of thousands of ninjas from the four major forces are in the rain. There is chaos in the country, and the current country of rain is the darkest and most disorderly place in the entire ninja world. In fact, Luhan really wanted to go to the land of rain, where he would get a bumper harvest. But the premises don't provoke Hanzo directly. Where is Hanzo's lair? Although Luhan is sure to deceive Hanzo, if he fails, Hanzo will chase after him. It's more dangerous than walking a tightrope with eyes closed. Ouch. It hurts. Lord Hokage, I have a heart attack, look. Luhan suddenly covered his heart and shouted exaggeratedly. Do you want me to help you heal? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked quietly. No, it's alright, it's alright. Luhan immediately stood up straight, and then said solemnly, by the way, Lord Hokage, Tsunade is pregnant. At this time, I think I should accompany her. I've already knocked out the child for you. Ouch, Lord Hokage, you are so cruel. If you talk nonsense again, I'm not just cruel. Lord Hokage, you have something to say, you should put down Kuu first. Huh, kid, don't play with me. Just tell me if you have any conditions. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a look of helplessness. He knew that Han Guang was not the kind of person who was afraid of things. How could the arrogant Han Guang retreat? Just want to rip off. Lord Hokage, you really know me. Then I can say it straight, you see. Is there any forbidden technique suitable for me, preferably the one that can be done quickly? This mission is so dangerous, I should do more some life-saving means, not to win Hanzo, at least to allow me to return to Konoha alive, right? Quote. Luhan looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen expectantly. He knew that Sarutobi Hiruzen was not a stingy person. There is no forbidden technique, so don't think too much about it. Advanced techniques are difficult to achieve quickly. Sarutobi Hiruzen's words made Luhan a little disappointed, but then he gave Luhan hope again. But there is one thing, it is perfect for you. Saying that, Sarutobi Hiruzen stretched out his right hand, and in his hand was holding the kuei that he had just taken out to scare Luhan. Of course he didn't mean to scare Luhan, he wasn't so boring, this kunai was prepared for Luhan. This is. Luhan took the kuu in his hand, and he didn't see anything at first glance. He just felt that this Kuwusheng contained a power that he was familiar with but somewhat unfamiliar with. When he turned over, he was shocked. On the other side of kunai, the Hiraishin art is depicted. This is the kunai used by my teacher, Hokage Senju Tobarama, the second generation. Sarutobi Hiruzen said at the right time. Chapter 0479 Hiraishin kunai of Senju Tobarama _ Although you have become a Hiraishin now, the time for Master Hiraishin is too short. Not to mention creating your own path, even the path already created by Tobarama has only just stepped out of the starting point. Sarutobi Hiruzen continued, this is also what I will do. The reason for this kunai is that you are following Tobarama's path, and the Hiraishin technique is exactly the same as Tobarama's, so you can use this kunai, and relying on this kunai, you can exert a higher level of Hiraishin abilities, such as ultra-long distance teleportation. Sarutobi Hiruzen is Sarutobi Hiruzen after all. He knows how dangerous it is for Han Guang to go to the black market this time, and he has made preparations for this. He can be very fond of talent. Naturally it is impossible to really push the cold light into the fire pit. While Sarutobi Hiruzen was talking, Luhan kept observing the Hiraishin kunai on his hand. The color and shape of the kunai were no different from ordinary kunai, but the quality was excellent, and it should barely meet the standard of a penultimate level weapon. Hiraishin was engraved on one side. The technique is really engraved, not imprinted. The entire technique is a complete dent. Lord Hokage. After Sarutobi Hiruzen finished speaking, Luhan raised his head. I have nothing to do with this kunai, it seems. You just need to cast your own Hiraishin technique on the other side of kunai, and you will trigger the induction with this original kunai technique. Sarutobi Hiruzen continued, the energy contained in this original kunai technique much higher than the energy you use. It's a qualitative difference, so you can't do what you want at first, but with a little practice, you'll get used to it completely. Luhan nodded, put Kuwu on the table. The side without the spell was facing up, and then quickly hand seal, pushed out with one hand. Chakrabo was turbulent, and Luhan's right hand brushed past Kuwusheng, leaving behind his own Hiraishin technique on Kuwusheng. At the same moment when he established a connection with this Kuwu, Luhan clearly felt how terrible the power contained in this Kuwu. This is the difference that only Hiraishin practitioners can feel. If we say, Luhan's Hiraishin technique, the power can tear the space into a passage that is enough for one person to pass through, and the power of suffering can tear the space out of the space-time abyss that stretches for hundreds of miles. This is just a concrete metaphor, but the difference is so big. Impossible, even Senju Tobarama can't have such a powerful Hiraishin ability, unless. Luhan thought to himself, looking up at Sarutobi Hiruzen, Lord Hokage, this Hiraishin kunai. Is it specially made? Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded. Why did Lord Senju Tobarama specially create this kind of Hiraishin kunai? He already has the ability to surpass the instant body. Even if the Hiraishin kunai is made stronger, it will not bring him any improvement in strength. Luhan asked. In fact, this question does not have a profound meaning, but for Luhan, who also practices Hiraishin, it is worth asking. This is Tobarama Sensei's life-saving trump card. Sarutobi Hiruzen was silent for a while before speaking. His eyes couldn't help but feel sad. In that accident, Tobarama Sensei faced the enemy alone and created a chance for us to escape. I thought that Tobarama Sensei would be able to escape. Get out of danger, because this kunai is placed in Konoha. This is the super strong Hiraishin kunai that Tobarama took half a year to make. It looks like a nick on it, but it is actually a special effect. Relying on this Hiraishin kunai no, Tobarama Sensei can instantly return to Konoha anywhere in the ninja world. Even the barrier that blocks the space can't limit it. And even in the world of terrifying demonic illusion, Tobarama Sensei can still maintain a sense of this kunai. When we got back to Konoha, we stayed with this Hiraishin, waiting. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't go on. Luhan already knew what happened next. Senju Tobarama is dead, not back to Konoha alive. As for why Senju Tobarama, who created the art of Hiraishin, died, why did he die with the enemy? and he couldn't even escape. No one knows, and no speculative reasonable explanation can be given. After all, the parties involved are dead. Quote. Since then, this kunai has been kept by me. I didn't intend to take it out, I just kept it as a souvenir. Sarutobi Hiruzen added. Ah, Lord Hokage, do I have to return this kuwu to you after this mission is over? Luhan thought of a very crucial question. Of course, this kunai does not belong to you. Then, what if this kunai was destroyed in battle? Little devil, don't try to play tricks. If you can't bring back this kunai intact, then you don't want to come back. Hey, he. Luhan, who was pierced, laughed dryly. Hangguang. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly leaned over, resting his arms and elbows on the desk, his hands clasped together to support his chin, and looked at Luhan with a serious face. This mission is no small matter. It involves the life of daimyo. You should also understand, just relying on the people around the daimyo can never stop Hanzo. I can't leave Konoha for a long time to protect the daimyo. No one knows when Hanzo will start, so the success or failure of your mission is very important. I need enough more time to set up. Understand? Lord Hokage, is there no reward for this mission? Luhan asked Sarutobi Hiruzen directly. If you change to another ninja, you must immediately pat your chest and promise to complete the task. Hangguang actually asks if there is any reward. No pay, but, given the difficulty of this mission, Daimyo has allocated some action costs to the village, and it's not a lot. How much? 10 million taels. Fuck, Sarutobi Hiruzen, you shameless bastard. You dare to be greedy for any money. I didn't expect you to be this kind of Hokage. If I don't ask you, if I'm not going to tell you. Are you acting stupid? These words only appeared in Lu in the cold heart. On the surface, he only grinned at Sarutobi Hiruzen. If you can complete this mission alone, I will give you 10 million taels and agree with you and Tsunade. Sarutobi Hiruzen said. This subordinate vows to complete the mission. Luhan immediately said seriously. Chapter 0480_Clean Boy. White Fang left the mission 3 days ago, and the Tsunade 3 left 7 days ago. Apart from them, Luhan has no friends in Konoha, and he has no right to see Senluo. Therefore, in the next few days, he will not only do his daily work. Apart from dealing with Kushina, he is in retreat most of the time. Anbu's affairs have been handed over to Sarutobi Yushuin and Hyuga Bonin. In the blink of an eye, 3 days have passed. Before leaving, Luhan explained to Might Dai and Hyuga Luo Ning again. Might Dai is currently the #1 idler in Anbu's. According to Luhan's order, he doesn't need to undertake Anbu's daily tasks. He can do whatever he wants. The purpose is to give him enough time to practice, and all the expenses of his practice will be borne by Anbu at the public expense. Might Dai is a decent guy, provided he can consistently open 7 of the 8 inner gates for a long period of time. To Might Dai was nothing more than supervising, but to Hyuga Luo Ning, Luhan arranged for her a heavy training task, and asked her to take care of Uzumaki Kushina's daily life. The purpose of this was naturally to hope that the little girl would leave if he thinks wildly or acts aggressively. Luhan will not be able to explain to Tsunade. Was the last month of the 31st year of Konoha, and this morning, outside the village of Konoha. The vast forest, rainy, is already the coldest season in the Land of Fire, but for advanced ninjas, this dampness and cold will not bring much discomfort. I'm finally out. Ha ha ha. Luhan flashed out of Konoha village, running wildly in the forest, feeling a sense of comfort in his heart, as if the sea was wide and the fish leapt to the sky and the birds flew. According to Sarutobi Hiruzen, the black market will open 10 days later. In the Land of Rain, 3 days have passed, and there are still 7 days left. There is still plenty of time, and it doesn't make much sense to enter the Land of Rain in advance. He doesn't know the exact location of the black market opening. Call. Luhan ran wildly, and a figure suddenly appeared in front of him, standing with his hands behind his back, which prompted Luhan to stop. The man who appeared standing under the tree with a hat with the word fire written on his head was Sarutobi Hiruzen. Lord Hokage. Be careful all the way. Well. Let's hit the road. Yes. Luhan jumped up the tree, ejected, waited on different trees in succession, and soon disappeared into the darkness in the distance of the forest. Sarutobi Hiruzen came to see him personally, which was beyond Luhan's expectations. He seemed to be full of concern, but it gave Luhan a very uneasy feeling. Sarutobi Hiruzen is not such a hypocritical person. He did this for either purpose or. The danger of this trip is beyond Luhan's imagination. After Luhan was far away, Sarutobi Hiruzen withdrew his gaze, and a phantom appeared behind him and gradually materialized. The man was wearing a black ninja suit, with a long knife on his back, his hair tied behind his head, and a mask on his face. It was Danzo. He is no longer Hokage's assistant, although he is still a high-level advisor, but this status has no real power, so his current main position is root leader. You shouldn't give the teacher's kunai to him, Danzo said nonchalantly. He won't let me down, Sarutobi Hiruzen said calmly. Really? Then why are you here? Why are you sending him off? You are worried that he will become the second Jouhai. He won't. Konoha has his concerns. Then why are you here? What are you worried about? Sarutobi Hiruzen was speechless, turned and walked towards Konoha village, passing Danzo. Danzo's eyes flashed with self-deprecation. No matter what he said, no matter how aggressive he acted, he still lost to this kid named Han. At this time, he hoped that Han Guang would betray Konoha, so that he could prove that he was right. In the Land of Rain, before the outbreak of the Ninja War, the Land of Rain had been chaotic all the year round. Except for some small villages hidden in deep Yamanaka and towns controlled by major forces, there was almost no pure land in other places. Bandits were rampant, and missing nin was rampant. This is the paradise of sinners. After the outbreak of the Ninja World War, there were some extremely safe places in the country of Rain. Those places were controlled by the four major forces of Konoha, Omegakure, Sunagakure, and Iwagakure. The rear base of the War of the Kingdoms. Luokang village is one such village. It is located in the southeast of the Land of Rain. It was originally a small village ruled by a small missing nin force in the Land of Rain. Missing nin fled, so at this time, this is the sphere of influence of the main Konoha army. There are 2 battalions of more than 300 ninjas stationed here. Although there are not many ninjas, they are not far from the rear headquarters of the main army. So far, there has been no attack here. Luokang village was used to gather refugees and provide shelter. Luokang village, which originally had only 2,000 villagers, now has a population of 5,000. Of course, Konoha will not be so merciful. It is impossible to save the world before the war is understood. The collected refugees either pay living expenses to the village, that is, Konoha, or they have to participate in labor and contribute to Konoha. In addition to building houses, paving roads and building wooden vehicles, sometimes refugees also need to participate in the delivery of materials to Konoha. In war, the most important thing is the supply of materials. The lack of food and clothing, the lack of weapons and the lack of replenishment of medicines are all big problems. It was rainy this afternoon. Luokang village. A slightly fat middle-aged man dressed simply but extremely clean, with 3 ninja guards passed the inspection of the Konoha ninja at the entrance of Luokang village, and set foot on the road to the northwest of the Land of Rain. Not long after leaving the village, on a small road in the woods, the slightly fat middle-aged man was walking in front of him. His breathing was quick, it seemed that he hadn't traveled like this for a long time, and he was in poor health. The 3 ninja guards of the middle-aged man were a tall and thin young man, a bald middle-aged man, and a young man with a fair face. All 3 of them were temporarily hired by slightly fat middle-aged people. As guards, the other 2 seemed very vigilant along the way. They always looked into the woods on both sides, as if a man-eating monster would suddenly rush out of it. The teenage ninja, who seems to have a big heart, always looks at the backs of middle-aged people. Because in the eyes of this fair and clean young man, The slightly fat middle-aged man had the word Yuhi floating above his head. Sunagakur Puppet Army Scout Puppet Master. Level 20 Gold Boss, Elaine.